Another privileged brown
Here
boy
we go, the bootlicker.
has a lot to say about black folks.
As I literally said, I don't like them.
Okay, let me slow this down because dude talks fast. Oh, sorry, wrong button.
What
I
the
need to
watch
hit
history? Pepe.
Pepe. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, so this is a university sort of Hindu club.
What's
So
up,
a lot of yeah. Hey, Zen, good to see you. You're in my chat as well. We're sharing chats with Rumba. It's our chat.
Our chat now, comrade.
Yes, indeed. And so, yeah, so this is a lot of universities. And again, I went to university as well. I won't say where, of course, because it's the internet. But I went to university and I was in one of these Indian sort of, cultural groups, right? The thing is that they booted me out. And the reason they booted me out eventually is because they changed leadership in the club, and the leader of the club was like this really really casteist, like right wing, like he was a lot like Vivek. And then he found out, I was Christian, and of course my name is not like an Indian name; it's an anglicized name, so British, but from Christian conversion. So I know. My ears cringe. Yeah, no, sorry, Eagle. You had to hear Vivek's attempt at becoming Eminem. But yeah, I was in that club and then they booted me because I was Christian. Like the guy literally said, like, well, are you really Indian? This, that. Like he asked me like a ton of questions about that, and I can't read for like, I don't know if you can, Daho, what that says, but
Nah, I can't read that shit.
no.
That's not
But
Romanian.
yeah, no, Romanian's in a Roman script,
That's a
obviously.
nice language, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so there are these groups, and now a lot of them are becoming, like, I've noticed over the past 10 years, a lot of these university groups are becoming like this sort of Hindu American thing. And they are associated with, the RSS, and they're super pro Modi and all this stuff. So now you see people like Sagar and Jetty. Look at this: Hindu American Voices in the Media, Columbia University, Hindu Yuva. And by the way, this group, Hindu Yuva, they were on the pro-Israel side at Columbia when the protest camps were going on. Yeah, they're pro-Israel. And so yeah, Sagar and Jetty, Washington. Yeah, they had Sagar, and then they had, I don't know who this is, someone from Now This.
Wait,
oh my
Sagar,
goodness.
wait, hold on. What happened to the populism?
Yeah, dude, what happened? You started licking the boot. You started licking the Trump golden sneaker.
Populism. What's going on, Sagar?
Yeah. I'm gonna spam the emote. Everybody spam the emote. Bootlicker in all caps.
He's licking my boots. I love Sagar. He loves me, so I love him. That's how it works, folks.
But let's hear what he has to say.
This is Sagar and Jetty, another privileged Brahmin boy who has a lot to say.
Privileged Brahmin boy, get him.
About black folks.
As I literally said, I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates. I genuinely I think he might be the godfather of a lot of the race problems that we have today. That's not an exaggeration in terms of his...
Imagine saying...
The idea that it's Ta-Nehisi Coates, because he's just like, yeah, I visited Palestine, and I think Israel's kind of bad guys, is so fucking funny to me, dude.
I will say this, as I'm a Christian, obviously, but like even if I wasn't, like, I would absolutely love to go over, like, whenever if Palestine is free, I'm gonna go visit for sure. Like, I think I would love it there. Yeah, I would love to go.
Trump Gaza, folks.
he's gonna turn it into Palm Beach 3.0. Yeah, okay. He'll try to turn it into Dubai. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, imagine thinking Ta-Nehisi Coates is the problem. Okay.
That essay, The Case for Reparations, single-handedly radicalized every white girl on a college campus who eventually ended up working at the New York Times, the heads of the BLM movement, of all this other nonsense that we have today. So I really do find him a villain in American...
Nah, Sagar, you're just mad that you got rejected. Sagar, you're just mad that you got rejected by a fellow South Asian woman who is a lot more woke than you are when you were in college. That's what I'm thinking it stems from.
Yeah, this has to be fucking real. Some Indian Stacy was just like, no, I'm gonna go with what's like a Chad name in like India or some shit for the... What's like
Definitely not Sagar.
not Sagar? Yeah, that shit's soy.
Rohan.
Yeah,
Rohan.
Yeah, some fucking Indian Stacy decided to go with the Rohan instead of your
Instead
fucking
of
goofy
Sagar.
looking ass. And
Instead of Vivek.
You're like the literal fucking like. I'll say like, listen, it's just like the same shit that happened to Obama. Okay, he's upset that he couldn't get any of the socialist Stacy, so he decided to be a fucking depressed loser.
Um,
I read a bunch of
True.
Foucault, and they still fucking hated my guts. What the fuck? I read D&G, Foucault, a little bit of Freud, some Nietzsche, and they still fucking hated my guts. What the hell?
Have I ever heard of Shapurji Saklatvala? Saklatvala? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly at all. Shapurji Saklatvala. Who is that? See, there's so many of these people like I haven't even heard of. Like and I keep up with this space. Like there's a lot of these people out here. Who is this? Oh no, this is right. This guy. Oh yeah. He was a communist militant and British politician of Indian Parsi heritage. Okay, so Parsi people in India are like they have Persian like ancestry basically.
Yeah.
So they're kind of mixed. But they're from like Gujarat and from Rajasthan state, from like the northwest corner of India. But basically this guy was looks like he was the first person of Indian heritage to become a British member of parliament. He was the first MP in Britain of Indian heritage for the UK Labour Party. But when was that? He was also one of the few members of the Communist Party of Great Britain to serve as an MP. Wow.
Ah, sick.
Yep. Interesting. I'll have to read more about him. I don't know what his position was. Like, was he like more of just like a libertarian Marxist, or what his position was? He kind of praised the Soviet Union's governance in 1934. Yikes. Yeah, he probably a little bit yikesy. I mean, communists at this period were probably very pro-Soviet and didn't realize what it was going to become.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, the if I recall, the Communist Party of Britain is Marxist-Leninist, I believe, primarily.
Oh yeah, Freddie Mercury is Parsi, by the way. Yeah, Freddie Mercury is Freddie Mercury. Rest in Power King. Was he was also Parsi as well. But he was born in Zanzibar, so I guess his parents were like were sent there as which I guess today is well, I mean Zanzibar is coastal Kenya today, but yeah, apparently yeah, but yeah, Freddie Mercury is Indian, like or was Indian. But specifically Parsi. Yep. Pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting.
Yep, a lot better than this guy.
Yeah, bro. What's like an Indian Stacy name? Okay, we have to actually bring the bit home. That's the real question.
Oh, the Indian Stacy name. What's a good one? Let me think. What was her name before? Ajanta. Okay,
yeah,
we're gonna say Ajanta.
Yeah,
Ajanta.
fucking Sagar's mad that he lost the Junta to Rohan. Okay, that's
true.
That's why he's fucking mad.
True.
And real.
That's why he's like all the white girls got radicalized by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
That's so fun. It's literal 1-for-1 like those black beasts with their giant cocks. All the fucking psychosexual stuff. Always the same fucking shit. Every fucking time with all these dumbasses. It's all psychosexual.
Yep.
African apartheid billionaire Peter Thiel. Speaking of which, this dude.
Okay.
That we have today. So,
Okay.
At the New York Times.
This is it.
The BLM movement, of all this other nonsense that we have today. So
nonsense.
I really do find him a villain in American politics. There are two people who I so deeply respect for their political bets: Peter Thiel and Donald Trump.
Yeah, man. Sure, bro. Peter Thiel, who's trying to become like a fucking monarch, bring in monarchy.
He was
in line with like Curtis Yarvin, and then Donald Trump, who's just like, we're crashing the economy, folks. We're gonna do it. I'm bringing down the American empire because I'm a fucking idiot. Just
God, I
really
wonder how the
annoying.
Telugu people in my chat are feeling right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sagar's one of you. I'm sorry. If I was Telugu, I'd be super mad at this guy. But yeah, he was on Lex Friedman's podcast, The Genius of Peter Thiel and Donald Trump. Sure, buddy. Of course you would see them as geniuses.
And is super buddy with all these podcast bros and a huge fan of JD Vance and also a friend who is the blood boy of South African apartheid billionaire Peter Thiel. Speaking of which, this dude takes a lot of bullets for South African apartheid bros.
That looks like a Nazi salute.
Here we go.
Okay, if every time
No, let it play.
Here we go.
Go, let it play.
someone raises their hand like
Let
that,
him
it's a Nazi
cook.
salute. I believe that Elon Musk is a literal Nazi who is intentionally Sieg Heiling.
Yeah, I
Or
don't know.
Do we have a
Sagar.
high-functioning autistic weirdo who, if you watch the full video, is spastically dancing like this
Yeah,
on
I think,
stage
okay,
and
just
unable to
you let it play a little too much. I don't know. High functioning autist here. Self-diagnosis. Diagnosis pending. I'm not. I don't do like fucking yeah. Woo. Let's fucking go. Donald Trump's my fucking boy. Yeah, I don't really do that all that much. Okay, Yeah, me doing my stupid little bit. Like I'm not doing like random fucking jumping jack for freedoms or some shit or whatever the fuck. Also like Sagar, my dude, you're doing like the same stupid defense. Like sure, maybe, just maybe, not every single time. It's like if you want to do like the stupid hyper technical argument of like, oh man, yeah, if you do a salute like that, it's not always like a fucking my
Technically,
heart goes out.
mhm,
I mean,
yeah.
if we want to do the super hyper technical thing, then why is it every single time like every fucking far right weirdo and like it's mostly synonymous with like fucking Hitler? I don't know. It seems kind of weird, Sagar. A little weird. You don't see random fucking people doing "my heart goes out to you" Roman fucking salute type shit. Okay, get the fuck out of here. It's synonymous with the fucking Nazis. You can suck my dick and eat my shit. Okay, get the hell out of here. This is the most fucking copium of copium shit. Okay. Also, like, dude, yeah. Autists, very well known for Sieg Heiling all the fucking time. Yeah, dude, sure.
Yeah. Zane confirms it too. It's like, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, I can't look. High functioning autistics stay winning.
True. There you go.
control all of his movements, and also did some weird like "my heart is with you."
Oh, you did it! You almost did it.
Well,
You just didn't have your hand the right way.
It's really fucking funny how he's saying like high functioning autistics don't have control over their movements. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not.
What do you mean high functioning?
Like, yeah, that's like high functioning autistics are able to like sort of behave with normal people. You're talking about like autistic people who typically are incredibly spastic. So like, which is it? Is Elon high functioning, or is he just like fully like autist? Like what? Which is it? You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth here. That's how you know it, bro. Here doesn't know shit about autistic people.
He probably read that in some tweet reply. It's like, oh, well, he's actually a high function. He doesn't even know what it means. Like he didn't go to the DSM-5 or whatever.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah,
he got it from the ADL. He got it from some Musk, bro. Or like he got it from Hitler Cunny 1488 or some shit. Who knows?
Yeah, or Greenblatt said it too. But yeah, the guy who runs the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, he said it. I think he was the original. Like I think he was the first person to like call it like awkward gesture or whatever.
So goofy, dude. Just so goofy.
Type gesture. Which of those two things do you think is more accurate?
Gee, I don't know. Okay, listen. If everyone could like look at the camera, okay, on my stream. Here's the way you can do, because I'm doing an Elon Musk right now.
You're doing with the heart.
He used to
this is showing my stream.
He used to do this before. He did that once at a particular show for Tesla. He did that. That was the fucking action. That's the
heart goes out
to you. But the the thing that he did in particular, that's a little different, buddy. That's like not a really so much my heart goes out to you kind of a deal where you did, and he did it twice. I don't know. Considering the fact that this is all the same dude who did like the stupid like Nazi fucking conspiracism, like. And like, oh, I have to go visit Auschwitz to repent for my sins. With like that dumbass fucking Ben Shapiro. And then did like a little fucking butt buddy like photo tour around in like Israel. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little strange, a little weird, a little sus. I don't know, Soccer.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
fucking meme.
Yep.
Which of those two things do you think is more accurate?
Backs the AFD in Germany.
Okay, AFD's not Nazis, a legitimate. So are you saying all the people
He thinks the AFD aren't Nazis. Okay, just because they
literally-
don't label themselves that.
Yeah, AFD's not Nazi. Literally, parts of the party have been jailed and banned because of Nazi affiliations. But yeah,
Yep.
they're definitely not Nazi guys. They don't have very interesting things to say about minorities, especially like particular religious minorities. Pepe.
Yeah, nice meme.
Sure,
Yeah.
nice meme.
if you're Nazis in Germany? Like,
I'm just saying, Sagar,
Yeah.
in terms
That's
of like
no, but
plausible
terms have
deniability,
meaning.
that is the most that
But the terms of meaning, you don't even know what high functioning autistic means. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
like
the most
bro
reactionary
was
part
speaking
in-
out of both sides of his mouth in terms of like different autistic people. Like, okay, bro, nice meme.
Yeah.
Germany. Part of it, a wing of it, is actually banned because of their extremism tied to like neo-Nazi
they
They
also
have
elements.
Crystal?
insane laws on the books.
So
He thinks
They have-
Germany's laws are insane.
Yeah, I wonder.
Get outta
hey,
here.
Hey, Sauger. Hey, troglodyte, moron. Hey, why do you think they have those in
Dong.
place, Soccer? Why do they have those laws? I wonder why they have those insane laws in place against, the partaking of like Nazi propaganda and paraphernalia and whatnot. Very, very stringent in terms of those. I wonder why. Maybe a funny little mustache man from 1933. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, they don't want that to happen again, right? Yeah. God.
When you have a bunch of shithead leftists who are constantly bitching about race or whatever, because that's what makes me mad. Or trans bullshit.
Calling me out for my fucking low IQ defense of Elon Musk and Nazis.
Get your fucking goofy ass out of here. You're just mad because you're fucking a goofy, stupid looking head ass fucking Nazi sympathizer, okay? You're again, like I said before, bro is fucking bad. I forgot the fucking name of the lady that we're fucking referencing here.
Ajunta.
bro,
Yeah, Ajunta
bro.
left him for Rohan.
Yeah, fucking bro. Fucking left you for Rohan. You're just fucking bad, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Go take out your sexual frustration like with your fucking hand. Go to a fucking bathroom stall, crank one out for like 2 minutes, and you'll be fucking fine. All right, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, if it does, yeah, that's what he should have done back then, just to prevent himself from becoming a fascist.
Oh,
Like that's
sorry.
literally how you
Oh,
stop
my
it. Yeah.
apologies. It's probably a thing that he can't do because of his like whatever like Brahmin whatever the fuck thing can't jerk off or some shit. So he has to be like
Yeah,
sexually
the-
frustrated.
Yeah, he has to preserve his seed.
Yeah, sorry,
his
I'm-
enlightened seed. Yeah.
The enlightened seed that he needs to dump into,
Yeah.
I don't know, some arranged marriage that he's inevitably gonna get into or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I remember this like dumbass fucking thing. God, this tweet was so fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah, his
Oh,
own
bro.
father was anti-apartheid. Oh no, he
Oh
wasn't.
no, he fucking.
How do
was.
you know?
Hey, he literally left, so he didn't serve in the apartheid military. Yeah, where did he go? Oh, with his fucking family in Canada, who were supportive of the Canadian Nazi Party. They were real buddy with the
Yep.
Canadian Nazis.
Mhm.
Sagar, I don't think you want to bring this up, buddy. That's a little weird. Oh, bro, he had,
Yep.
bro, he had blacks as friends, man. Like, come on, dude. I mean, oh yeah, dude. Like, all the fucking he was probably real friendly with some of the slaves his like dipshit fucking father kept around. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, dumbass.
Yeah, in the mines. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, and the thing again, my only last response to this guy is, dude, you sound like a woke skull. You're a wannabe liberal. You just sound like a woke skull. And of course, that would make him really mad if I told him that. Lib.
Bro, what are you, a fucking wokey? Get the fuck
Yes.
out of here.
Yeah, I'm so upset. I just wanted to defend my little Nazi pal.
Get the fuck out of here, bitch.
Yep.
Because that's
Scratch
Okay.
links to apartheid. What happened to Sagar's populism? Whose side are you on? The billionaires or the
Yeah,
American
where's the
workers?
populism?
Do not let this dude get into
Defending a
office.
billionaire.
It's clear which side of the aisle he's running for, and I'm not talking about left or right. I'm talking about up and down. The boot is too good for him. he cannot resist the boot. A majority of Indian Americans voted for the Democrats in
God, that's so
2024,
funny, dude.
with more women favoring Harris and almost half of Indian men losing their marbles and voting for Trump.
Yeah, almost half of Indian men in the United States voted for Trump. So that
Wonder why.
was a significant contributor. Yeah. Yeah, I voted for Harris. I wasn't one of the cringe ones.
Yeah, boy meets Minnie, one of the good Indian men. We don't have a lot of those. Don't have a lot of those, but he was one of the good ones.
Yeah. Forget Vivek and Kash Patel. Look here. Anyways, yeah, Alex. Yeah, half of Latino men. It was like over half, wasn't it, or was it just slightly over half for Trump?
I think it was about half, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly.
it was. Yeah, and a similar trend with Indian men as well.
Listen,
But yeah,
what can I say? We hate women. I mean, I love women. It's Women's Month, folks. Very important. Women's Month. We love women. We love
was it a bit over half, or was it about 50-50? I think it was about 50-50 with Latino
it was
men.
close, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, it was really close, too close. But yeah, let's see why though. I think he's gonna go into it here.
Just like all other male groups in the country except black folks. Now, voting for Trump is already bad. But to be honest, Indian American special interest groups, especially Hindu nationalist ones, have been doing shady stuff
Oh, they love Gavin Newsom. He's gonna get into Gavin Newsom here.
even when they were aligned.
Not Gavin
with
Newscum.
Yeah, my
I
governor.
think
Oh boy.
he's gonna probably more broadly talk about the Democrats, I think. And also, like, think of it this way. I even mentioned this. I think which video was it about? Like, how there's a lot more like black conservatives. Not, it's still not like generally enough. They're not breaking, generally speaking, because a lot more black people are starting to become more and more part of the middle class. Because, like, again, like the Democrats have sort of like lost their identity and like lost their way. They don't really know how to appeal to a lot of these groups. And I mean, blame Reagan for that one. They like collectively, like when Reagan won, they just like the Democratic Party just kind of like exploded as like a party. That's truly when the party itself in of itself died. Was like due to the 80s, due to Reagan. Like they just completely lost their way. Because like I said before, like what were the main things that the Democrats passed? Because like all of the main big pieces of legislation that we all know and love or whatever, they were passed by the Democrats. That was the New Deal, Democrats, even though it was like complete like racialized and segregated in the
It was the Southern Democrats back then. Yeah, but
Democrats.
they passed it.
They passed it. They did. Yep, only to help like white people, of course.
Of course.
And the Civil Rights era. And that's when like the sort of like psychic backlash, the psychic like just snap, just completely just rocked the Democrats, because they're the ones who are passing one of the main fucking like civil voting era, sort of voting civil rights eras pieces of legislation in the of the fucking century for the U.S. and also one of the greatest like economic boons for America. Like they basically lost their fucking way because these are two inherently contradictory positions, and the Republicans were able to sort of capitalize on that due to the Southern strategy. Of course, there's a lot more other complicated factors. I explained this in my Ryan White video talking about the lack of an alt-left pipeline. They sort of lost their way. Their identity was completely shattered after that, and the Republicans were able to take advantage. Of course, they're never going to be honest about anything, because, I mean, there was, like, a uniparty. Ryan White was correct when he was saying that in terms of, like, what the sort of parties were voting along for, in terms of, like, general sort of, like, populist. I don't even know if that's, like, necessarily correct to say. Like, populist economic stuff and stuff that benefited general American imperialism. Benefit for America's sake, blah, 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 broadly speaking, like, civil rights happened, and then the psychic backlash just happened. Democrats have now just completely lost their way, and the Republicans were the ones who were able to take advantage. So, like, because, like, obviously, a lot of those antebellum South segregationist supporters, they voted for Democrat, and then the Civil Rights Act passed. That probably pissed off all of those voters. And the Republicans, immediately seeing an opportunity to scoop up a huge constituency and be able to finally sort of break out of this sort of uniparty, were instantly able to pick up on that. And that's where you sort of got like the split between the two parties. That Southern strategy that Lee Atwater was talking about.
Yeah, now this is going into some of the orgs that are both in India and of course outside of India. So like here's what's interesting. So the VHP, I talked about them. So they advocate a militant version of Hinduism. So these guys are like, like brown shirts, like really
Brown
violent
shirts, yeah.
brown shirts. Yeah,
Paramilitary.
and if you remember in 1992, India had its own sort of crystal knock. That was when that Babri Mosque was destroyed in northern India, and that is now the place where a massive temple has been built. And I've covered this. That's the temple
Yes,
that
I
Modi
believe
inaugurated.
That also
Yeah.
Rohan gets into that as well, I think.
He's gonna get into that. I don't want to steal his thunder again, as I keep doing. But yeah, so he's gonna get into that. But yeah, these people were behind it, and so the VHP America was the first of these Hindutva groups established in the U.S. in the 70s. So these people have been here for over 50 years. And then the VHPA formed the U.S.-based Hindu Students Council in the 1990s. So yeah, this has been going on for a few decades. This is nothing new to America. Like people in America think, oh, this is something new. This came with Modi in 2014. No, this has been happening here for like a long time.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, in our diaspora, and so it's getting more and more ingrained. The power structures are established. The who's who has been established, and
Yeah,
obviously that gets passed down.
Now we
And
have Vivek Ramaswamy. Kash
that's how you got
Patel.
Vivek.
That's how you get Cash Patel. That's how you get Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep, Bobby Jindal, remember, governor of Louisiana, was really, really bad and like really corrupt. And then you have Dinesh D'Souza. Oh man,
Oh, that
I need. Oh, dude.
that guy's a fucking freak. He's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Like he is Reagan's. Like he's a bigger fan of Reagan than Ronald Reagan probably was of himself. Like that's how much of a Reaganite he is. It's crazy. Um, so, oh, this is another one, by the way. So, Seva Bharati, this is one people don't talk about. Obviously, there's the BJP and the Overseas Friends of the BJP. Obviously, that exists, right? Overseas Friends of the dominant political party in India right now. But then there's Seva Bharati. Seva Bharati is what this is it's more of an NGO. So they use humanitarian crises in India to raise funds and then divert the donations to Hindutva projects. So they're super dishonest. So like, oh, we're raising money for say,
That seems kind of illegal.
Not if you know the right people. And unfortunately, these people, they know all the right people in both the Democrat and Republican spheres. They know the right people. They really, really do. Unfortunately. So, and they've been at it for years. So anyway, Rohan, what do you got for us, man?
And we must take a note of these groups. You see, if the world is to avoid another APAC, ADL situation when it pertains to the US's collaboration,
This is your other APAC that you've never heard of.
to other
Oh, hi, Tulsi.
special interest groups.
Yes, yeah, Tulsi. By the way, for those who think Tulsi is, some people have asked me, is Tulsi South Asian? No, she's Samoan. But her parents were converts. They converted to the Hare Krishna cult, which is a very it's a very fringe, well, not really fringe. They're pretty big, but they're not like mainstream Hinduism. They're like this fringe sort of Brahmin cult of Hinduism that is super nationalist. They buy into all the Hindutva stuff, the Hindutva writings from like the late 19th century. So they buy into like this Hindu nation stuff, like even more than like most Brahmin Hindus do. So yeah, they're like super extreme. Yeah, Tulsi is a South Asian name. Tulsi is actually she was given that name by her parents, who were converts to the Hare Krishnas. So her Tulsi is actually an herb, and in fact, Tulsi is an herb you often find in temples because it's considered a holy herb that like purifies. And so, in India, it grows everywhere. Like everybody in their gardens or on the roof, if they have a rooftop garden or whatever, they'll grow Tulsi, like a little plant or something, and use it for like worship or whatever. Like in the temple.
Listen, I don't think Tulsi Gabbard's the type of person who's blazing it up and smoking that herb. Okay, I don't think.
Well, you
so.
don't smoke it. You don't smoke it. I mean, you use it and
I'm
like.
making a weed joke,
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. Yeah, you don't smoke it. The way you use Tulsi is more in like you can use it in tea as like an herbal tea. You can use it in medicine. Obviously, it's used in Ayurveda, which is pseudoscience. It doesn't really work.
Oh my god, that shit.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
that Dr. K dude from like Twitch, Healthy Gamer GG. That
I
guy
don't
who
like
was
Dr. K.
that guy.
I really hope he's not connected to these organizations, because if he is, we gotta expose it. But,
Yeah, over under
yeah.
on him doing pushing like the Brahmin Enlightenment science, whatever
Mhm.
shit. What's the over under on that one?
I don't know. We gotta look at some point. At some point, it'll come up. But let's see. But yeah. So this is what's interesting too. So like you'll see people from these organizations making big donations to people like Tulsi, right, for her campaign. And so these are people.
Legitimize themselves.
These are people from Seva USA and all these sort of like Hindutva orgs who were who donate, you know, 5 figures to her campaign. Yeah.
We love
Not sus. Yeah.
That's not a little weird at all.
Nope, not sus. Just normal American politics.
I love
Empire. We need to be looking at
love this.
organizations like the HAF, the Hindu American
Civics
Foundation,
United.
Check
the
this out.
CHP America, and we need to take seriously the 100-odd RSS chuckers sprinkled throughout the US. We need to make clear to all Americans that these organizations.
Oh, these guys are nuts. Have you heard of these guys, Bajrang Dal?
No.
These guys aren't in the U.S. thankfully yet. Although they are a domestic terror group in India. And what's interesting is the Bajrang Dal, like Modi doesn't consider them a terrorist group, even though they literally do acts of terror against like mosques, churches,
I
against
wonder
lower
why.
caste communities. They will, and they will like attack, like if they like the kinds of things they do are like horrific. And they're super, like they're militant brown shirts basically, and of course you could see their flags here, their saffron flags. But yeah, they're the youth wing of the VHP, that organization I talked about a minute ago, who are who started like a lot of the student organizations. Yeah, but it's like a paramilitary from India whose youth wing is a terrorist group, a domestic terror group, is starting Hindu university groups at American universities. That is messed up. Yeah.
Makes you think.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, these people do some
sooner-
truly horrific things.
Yeah, sooner or later they're gonna start. They're gonna start putting their hearts out to people.
Oh, they have been. It's no question. They already have been. Like this is the extreme militant wing of the VHP. They've been doing it forever. So.
That's true.
Organizations are just brown KKK, who have just adopted liberal progressive language to speak to Dems, and when speaking to Republicans, they use a completely different language, one of one God. Everyone has a purpose.
Our faith tradition, Jesus Christ is a son of God. I know that is different.
Oh no, he twists Hinduism to try to appeal to evangelicals. This is something Vivek does. Oh, Alex Savarkar. So Savarkar, Alex posted the name Savarkar. So V.D. Savarkar is considered like the father of modern Hindutva. This guy is Yep. Yeah, this guy is one of the progenitors of Hindutva, of the Hindutva ideology, and yeah. Yeah, and well, he liked the Nazis, but also like the Nazis were kind of sort of inspired by him. I mean, that's kind of where they got the swastika from, was from Hindutva, because Hindutva came sort of around the same time of Otto von Bismarck's German nationalism.
Yep.
Than saying he's the son of God. But that's my view of Jesus Christ. He's got our family. Do we worship in churches? Yes, we do. Is that compatible with our faith? Yes, it is. One true God. In many forms. So that's different. And
One true God in many forms. No evangelical's gonna buy that, buddy.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
The only way to heaven is through Jesus Christ.
What do people?
Look, the boomer over here is like lecturing him, like, "No, you can't tell me that, bro. You can't get me.
You ain't gonna fool me on God, brother."
And I understand that.
That is the only way to heaven is through Jesus.
God, he just lets the leopard eat his face, literally in this shot. It's crazy.
What do people say
That's his wife, Apurva. That's Vivek's wife.
gives them like, oh, I can't vote for him because what are the things that they tell me? What
Yikes! Oh.
Yeah, it's just like His skin is too dark. I don't like it. Like literally, who was the also the stupid racist like dumb like Nazi Barbie before the other Nazi Barbies started like popping out of the
How many of them are there?
Ann Coulter. Literally,
Yeah,
was just
okay.
I would like you as president, but
I remember that. I was on his show too.
and he's just like he just sits there and he fucking takes it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna play the clip because time, but yeah, truth. It was on his show too. The fact that he allowed this on his show, Vivek Ramaswamy and Coulter.
Yep.
Yeah, it was on Vivek. Yeah, it was on his show, Truth. If you title, and it was a
talking about the N-word.
N-word nationalism and the other N-word. But yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I remember that clip. That was unhinged. And he just turned the other cheek. Like I don't think Jesus would have turned the cheek for that one. I seriously, dude. But anyways, yeah, but this is his wife trying to explain. And look, watch this guy on the right. Watch this guy on the right. What happens? He's absolutely. You could tell the guy on the right is just seething. I guess they're husband and wife. I don't know. I don't know from context, but yeah, the husband is just seething. Like, why are these Hindus taking over our Christian party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. There's not much we can do about that one. Yeah, so yeah, in a lot of ways, I think for a lot of people.
Not much we can do about that. Okay, you're not really selling yourself. Yeah, I mean, too bad. That's what we look like.
It's like, yeah, our skin's dark.
For whom religion is important, and we care a lot about God and our relationship to God. So I understand when people hear that we're Hindu, you want to know, like, what does that mean? Who are you? What?
He's seething. At him. He's gonna.
I don't like these darn brown people trying to explain.
You could
my
just
religion
see
to
the.
me.
He's gonna go Super Saiyan.
I hate it. I'm gonna start saying words.
Yeah, he didn't turn the cheek. He licked the other boot. Yes.
You stand for. So our religion teaches us that all of us have been put here by God for a purpose, and everyone has been given a gift, some gifts by God.
Yep. So for those, so these are some quotes for some. These are obviously English translations. These are from Hindu religious Hindu religious texts, of which there are many. Because again, you have to remember that Hinduism.
Different regions, it's super fucking malleable. Anyone can just kind of, like write and say anything. If I were to make a bet, I'm gonna make a bet. These are probably like recent interpretations of like actual scripture. If I were to make like.
Yeah, these are probably recent interpretations by by these by modern priests. And so so one of the main texts, and it's kind of hard to say for people not from the region or don't know the language, but there's a one of the Hindu texts is called the Manu Smriti. It's hard to say because of Smriti. It's super hard to say, but the Manu Smriti, yeah, it's really hard to say that, yeah. But basically, this is the laws of Manu. Okay, so Smriti means law in Sanskrit. So Manu Smriti, laws of Manu, and basically they're in this is the like seminal text where the definitions of castes come from. So this is where this is almost like a law book basically for Hindus, like a religious law book. So it presents this. So Manu is, if you don't know, it refers to the archetypal man, the first man, progenitor of humanity. So the Sanskrit terms for human, Manusya, right? Or children. So it's almost like they're Adam in a way. You could think of it that way. So basically, you could think of this as the law of man. This is like the laws of human, law of man, right, in Hinduism. But then they say that one of the laws is that there is a natural order, and that's where sort of the caste comes from. So yeah, and so they say there's a natural order to society, and Brahmins are on top, and all that. That's basically what this says. And there's a lot of depth to this, but like that's essentially the result that you get. So. Yep.
Yeah, I wonder why. Surely there's no political reasoning for this at all. Nah, not at all.
Nope, nothing to do with empires, nothing to do. Yeah, and so in the Manusmriti, they obviously translating from Sanskrit, this is probably a modern interpretation, but it says low castes are equal to dogs and pigs. Criminals and sinners will be reborn as low caste people. So they literally believe that lower caste people are reborn, are like reincarnations of past criminals and sinners. So that's how like badly they regard Dalits and Shudra and people of lower castes. So the Zane, this Hinduism you grew up on is way different from the others I've seen. Yeah. And again, it's just how it's presented. Like, are you talking to someone who's upper caste who, you know, buys into the Manusmriti, or are you talking to someone who's lower caste who is much more sort of pluralistic in their beliefs and accepts people who worship other gods and goddesses?
That's like the whole basis of Sikhism, right? Is like is that sort of acceptance.
Very pluralistic.
Yeah, like I watched like a history video about this, and like they literally had to like fight in order to be able to defend themselves from like differing empires that wanted to like conquer their parts in the Punjab. It's crazy.
Yeah, and again, part of the reason is Punjab is like some of the most fertile soil on earth. I mean, so much agriculture comes out of there. Like like some people call it the breadbasket of Asia. They're kind of right. And it looks like this: the Shudra servant, which is like the second lowest, right, must not make wealth. The Dviya can appropriate whatever wealth the Shudra servant has amassed. So literally, the master of the servant can just take their money. And this is written in like, you know, the Hindu religious texts, like in the Manusmriti, the Mahabharata, which is like the sort of, you know, epic narrative of all the Hindu gods and all that. There's so many texts. Mine was very much Krishna and Jesus were like best buds. It's interesting. I wonder what tradition that is. Yeah, true. They probably, they were, you know.
Oh, Krishna, my bro, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I kind of look like Jesus. That's like the joke.
Yeah, if you go over to Daho's stream, he's got the long hair and the beard, and all he needs is the tobe, right? You just need to wear a tobe, and you got it.
I need to get a fucking tobe or some shit. Yeah.
From Palestine. Yeah, there you go. You got it.
And it's our job to use those gifts to the best of our abilities while we are here on this earth.
Just like organizations like the ADL, Jews on Campus, and other Israeli lobby groups, these groups will weaponize any criticism of Hindu nationalism and their organizations as anti-Hindu, Hindu-phobia.
Oh no, yeah. Hindu-phobia, it's their version of anti-Semitism.
I'm ready for all the troglodyte dipshits to be like, they're gonna come into both our comment section.
It's gone,
like,
okay.
You're gonna like, you know, talk about Hindus like this. I can't believe you're doing that. Shut your goofy asses up. No one likes you, okay? Shut up. No one likes your goofy racist ass casteist bullshit, alright? Goofy.
Yeah. And now there are groups like, you know how there's like the JVP, right? Jewish Voices for Peace, who are, you know, pro-Palestine and for liberation.
I assume there's similar groups like that as well. For
There's
different like anti-casteist groups and shit like that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them, and then in the U.S. we have Hindus for Human Rights, which they're mainly out of California actually, because they've been trying to get an anti-caste bill passed in the California State House, which again Rohan's gonna talk about, but yeah, it didn't pass because no, it passed the Senate, the California Senate, but then Gavin struck it down.
You scum. Listen, Seattle, we got
my governor.
Seattle. There you go.
Yep, there you go. But on cries of Hindu phobia. Like this is the sort of, you know,
it's the standard playbook.
Yeah, it's a standard playbook, and they recast it as they recast it as racism against all South Asian people. Meanwhile, these same people who who say like, well, it's Hindu, they cry Hinduphobia against, like, say, a white supremacist who makes fun of us for being brown. They'll say it's Hinduphobia, and then they'll turn around and say stuff to me and call me, different slurs because I'm a Christian. Like it's literally like it's very you can obviously tell that this is like they're not sincere in their they're not sincere.
Sorry, boy meets many, but you're not an actual Indian because you're a Christian. You're probably an evangelical.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up evangelical, but now I'm like, more, like I said, I'm more of a liberation, more in the liberation theology side of things. But yeah,
they'll
let's
just call you
continue.
racist. You will definitely see that in this video's comment section as well. They will hide behind victimhood while
Oh, we got to
oppressing
see those
India
comments.
and in the United States. Many of them might
It's
even
probably funny.
have marched in Black Lives Matter rallies and have changed their bios saying Black Lives Matter, but they'll still throw money at Democrats in order to block any anti-caste action or legislation. That last part actually happened, and the comparison between Hindutva and Zionist groups are not unfounded. They literally share notes. The Hindutva movement in America learned from Zionists that it is advantageous for them to claim to represent all Indians. And if you follow the money, you will know that
Oh, whoa,
Indian
they're doing
American
the same conflation. Who would have thought? Whoa. Whoa, crazy. Who would have thought?
You right? Same strat. Yeah, same old strat.
Same old shit. Every single time.
Yep. The annihilation of caste is Hinduphobia. So what Alex is referencing there, so one of Ambedkar's his seminal work actually was the annihilation of caste. It was a speech that he was going to give before like the founding, the first like Congress of India. This was like in the 30s. They were trying to form like the first like Congress of India. To prepare for independence, right? It's kind of like the Continental Congress in the U.S. that we had, right? Before 1776. Yeah, basically he was going to go to Delhi to speak to them, and he had this speech written out, the annihilation of caste, and unfortunately it was going to tick off all of it was really going to annoy, of course, all of the upper caste sort of founding fathers of India, if you will. He was going to annoy them because this speech was talking about how it literally like dismantles caste as a concept. So that's why it's called the annihilation of caste.
Right.
It's the actual name of the speech. It's a very good speech. It's public domain. I mean, you can just go find it. But yeah, the annihilation of caste is Hinduphobia. I mean, that's what these people would say. That's what the Hindu America Foundation would. They literally say that. They think Bhim is like a self-hating Indian. That's what they categorize him as, actually. Anyways, yeah.
in the US who are aligned with these Hindu nationalist organizations funnel money back home to fund domestic terror groups like the RSS, the VHP, the Bajrang Dal. To grossly simplify it for you, rich Tesla driving uncle from San Francisco sends money to cow protection gangs in India who then lynch poor Indians who might be Muslim, Dalit, or Adivasi, or Christian, who, by the way, might be raising cows, because that's literally the only job that the society around them allows them to do, which keeps people marginalized and in a state of perpetual poverty, preventing them from attaining.
Yeah,
I find it, because we were talking earlier about vote vigilantism, like Greg Palast's documentary. Same shit happening in India, but it's around cows. It's incredible to me. It's just like,
yeah,
I've seen this play out before.
Yeah, no one remind the rich Tesla driving Indian uncle here. No one remind them that India is the world's fourth biggest beef producer. Like, we export so much beef to the Middle East, it's not even funny, and to Southeast Asia. Like we're the fourth biggest beef exporter on earth. Obviously, America number one. But right. Yeah. And then like Pakistan's like number 3 or something, or I number 3 or number 5, I forget. But anyways, like, yeah. But most of the Tesla, dude, Alex, I was making this joke earlier, but I'll make it again for more people who are here. You probably, again, I grew up in the diaspora, so people outside may not know, but whenever you would see like really rich Indian people, like a rich Indian family who, like, mom and dad are both doctors or engineers or whatever, and it used to be the car of choice for rich Indians in America was a Lexus or a Mercedes, and now that's when they were cooler. Now they drive Teslas. That's really crazy. They should have stuck with Lexus, man. The Lexus has always been good. Like, they were cooking and then they stopped cooking. So yeah, the unks got really cringe. Like, they were cringe before because they were, casteist and racist or whatever. But at least they drove Lexuses. Now they got worse. It's like, oh, come on, man. Hey, I drive a Mini Cooper, and some people might say British, might point the finger and say British, but hey, I'm reclaiming, I'm recolonizing, I'm doing reverse colonization of British vehicles. Okay, that's what I'm doing.
Shaking my head, boy meets many.
True. Yeah, I need to. Yeah. Now the thing is, have you ever seen? This is a little distraction. So have you ever seen this?
Yeah, the ones with the Union Jack on the back.
I don't have these. I just have the normal ones, the round dot. I don't have the Union Jack ones, so there we go. Mine's not British.
There you go.
I mean, it's got a BMW motor in it. It's not really British, anyways.
Anglophobia secured. We did it, boys.
We did it.
We did it.
Yeah, my you could say mine's Irish. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
There we go. When Mexican uncles get rich, they drive big ugly trucks. So at least the Indian uncles had a Lexus phase. Dude, they were so much better in the Lexus phase. They were way cooler. All right. So, but yeah, so what Rohan's pointing to here is like, yeah, a lot of non-Hindu people in India, people who aren't, a lot of people there who are not Hindu, like who are Muslim and Sikh and Christian, they will often, those who live in villages and rural areas, will raise livestock. I mean, because yeah, they don't have to be vegetarian, and so of course they can, they can be butchers and whatnot. So yeah, and a lot of people in those faiths, like a lot of Christians, Muslims, and Sikhs, are from marginalized caste backgrounds. So maybe their ancestors converted over to Sikhism or Christianity or whatever, or maybe they themselves have, and they mainly do it. The main reason for religious conversion in India is to escape caste discrimination, because their thinking is, oh, if I convert to an Abrahamic faith, or if I convert to Sikhism, which is very pluralistic and accepting, I don't have to face casteism in the temple. I can go to the place of worship and they won't stop me. So that's like, for example, like one thing in India you'll notice is mosques aren't really divided by caste so much. There was some sort of like stratification going on with caste during the Mughal era, but these days, if you go to most mosques in India, they allow pretty much anyone in there. Like they're not exclusionary. They don't do like, there may be some of that going on, but it's not common at all anymore. And of course, churches in India as well are. What I was saying earlier about church and caste in India, it's not so much the policy of the church to like divide on caste. It's just that the way churches have come up in India is sort of, because everything's so segregated already, that putting churches in place it's hard to unify the segregated communities. I mean, it's just. So that's like the struggle that Christians are having there. So, but they're trying, and I think there's a lot more focus now in ministry and in a lot of the outreach programs there to actually get everybody sort of more united, get everybody talking to each other. Rich Christians who live in, say, Mumbai, a major metropolis, should, they're starting to do more outreach to like rural areas where there are lower caste people living there, and building community with them. So there's a lot of that going on. But again, one of the reasons why it's often frowned upon is because these militant groups will often like terrorize mosques and churches and ministries. Like if they see that a missionary is coming to the village, the VHP will also show up, and they'll show up with sticks and swords. So yeah, it gets ridiculous, dude, over there. Like it's actually dangerous, like in a lot of situations. And me, when I go over there as a Christian, like even though I'm, from the US and, like I also feel a degree, like especially last time I went, I felt a degree it was a little bit unsafe in some situations. So yeah, but anyways, enough of that. But yeah, that's what he's referring to here with the whole cow thing, because again, cows are considered sacred by Brahmins specifically.
Anything in their village or town because of caste-based segregation.
What's the sort of
and when
basis
some of the
for
kids
cows being sacred? I'm just out of curiosity, like why specifically?
Again, I'm a Christian. I don't exactly know why they consider them sacred. Like there has to be
There's some basis for that.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, it might have to do with. Yeah, what? Let me see. Why are cows considered? I hope I don't get like a revisionist answer.
Yeah, probably a bunch of misinformation out there now.
Yeah, why are they considered sacred? I think. Oh, it's been associated with very. Oh, it's because Shiva's steed is a bull. I think that's the main reason.
Okay, like Shiva, if I recall, that's the one, the main deity, right?
Yeah, one of the, yeah, in the sort of pantheon, if you will. Yeah, so yeah, this is a statue of Nandi, who is a bull. This is Shiva's steed. I think that's the reason why. There we go. We found it. Yeah. There we go. You gotta love how mythology, like, and of course, this has resulted in beef bans in many states in India. Like, not many states in India are allowed to serve beef, for this reason. So, my home state in India is one of them. They have banned beef, and now, of course, they have anti-conversion laws. So, what that means is like, they outlaw and they heavily like regulate, like, they heavily like surveil like non-Hindu religions, so they don't want people converting to Islam or Christianity or Sikhism. It's really messed up. And now there's more anti-conversion laws like popping up in other states too. So in India, so there's a lot going on over there with that. But yeah, that's kind of like the background of this. So, anyways, let's continue.
Those marginalized caste folks fight tooth and nail to get educated and then escape that casteist reality, they cannot get a job at Tesla driver uncle's company because Tesla driver uncle says, "Oh, you didn't get here by merit. You were a DE." I hope this simplification
Literally.
helps you understand what's really going on here. A lot of Indian Americans would prefer that we don't mention this or talk about this reality. But the same people also want to lap as indigenous minorities from another country who definitely was not assisted by caste-based apartheid. Newsflash, there are already indigenous folks in India with their own non-Hindu animist.
Yeah, look at this.
Newsflash.
You want to talk about indigenous people? India officially, the Indian government.
There's a ton of them, right?
Yeah, there are 700 plus tribes in India who are indigenous. The total population of indigenous is 104 million. Like, there's more indigenous people in India. It's like 4 Canada's worth of indigenous people. Like, that is hard to believe, right? But that's true.
No, it sounds like the RCMP has a lot of work to do.
Stop.
Fucking RCMP.
No, well, these based aunties with
these-
rifles will have something to say to
yeah,
them.
they'll shoot back at those dumbasses on their fucking horses, those stupid looking hats.
True.
There are already indigenous folks in India with their own non-Hindu animist religions as well.
Yeah, so the animist religions, right? So a lot of the Adivasi people, and actually this is kind of the roots of Hinduism, right? Because, I mean, if you went back thousands of years, there was no Hinduism. It was all animist religions. And so this is why a lot of the Hindu gods and goddesses are sort of, that you can kind of see the animist like roots in all of them. You can kind of see where it all came from.
You guys ain't it. Here is a privileged caste Hindu nationalist, local politician, literally pissing on an indigenous man.
This literally happened.
Because he can. Not to mention, there was a time
fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
long ago.
Like, I'm like imagining if someone were to do that.
That happened.
Yeah, I'm like imagining if this like happened in the West. That would be like
Literally
Oh,
pissing
national
it would be-
fucking news. It'd be like
It'd be
whoa,
everywhere.
it'd be crazy, but like
Yeah.
nothing.
This happened in the middle of India and nobody said anything.
No one gives a shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just in like the regional paper or
And,
whatever.
like really, it's testament to just how much like Western progressivism is like cultural progressivism at the very least is like prominent within the culture of America. Like like all these like dumbass like America bad types like seem to think like America's like the root of all fucking evil, and it's just like
No.
nah, dude. There are cultures out there in terms of, like general social progressivism that are 10 times, like 20 times worse than America could ever possibly be. Like I even mentioned to like a lot of these different types. I'm like, you are aware that literally Joe Biden was the one who passed the Respect for Marriage Act. You want to know why Obergefell v. Hodges got federalized? That fucking act right there. And same with Loving v. Virginia. That shit got federalized. So if the Republicans try to go after that, they also have to go through that law, making it a lot harder to take down those particular laws.
Yeah, they can't just do it in court precedent. And then the other thing, too is like when people say like America bad, like the American Diabolists, right, who say that like America is really bad. Like, okay, you clearly haven't talked to anybody from this part of the world, from South Asia.
Yes.
Japan has a lot of problems with its ethno-nationalism and historically and of course currently.
Hikikomori's, man, and
Korea,
that's had cultural
Korea, don't get me
osmosis.
started.
Yeah, Korea, like the Hikikomori.
Both
stuff,
Koreas.
man.
Holy cow.
It's cultural osmosis, dude. Like it's crazy, and like let's not even talk about like the contempt that like most of these dumbasses have for East Europeans. Like let's not even start with that. because yeah, we hate the Iron Curtain, the Warsaw Pact. Let's not even begin with that. Like,
Oh
it's
boy.
crazy. It's just like, this is like the main problem that I generally have with like a lot of these people. It's like reactionary thinking, because they too are also okay with the maintenance of particular hierarchy. It's just they want to be the ones on top instead. It's the same fucking shit.
Yep.
It's all fucking conservatism, all in the end.
I've had to talk to some people like that. They say, "Oh, hey, isn't that one state in southern India run by the Communist Party?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's one state. That's Kerala. Kerala is not even the biggest. It's not even yeah, they're run by the Communist Party, of India, the Marxist arm specifically. So they're not really like MLs. They're just like sort
Yeah,
of
they're probably
social.
orthodox Marxists in some way.
They're democratic socialists. They're democratic
Okay.
socialists, basically. But again, the problem with the Communist Party in India, especially in Kerala, is they're mostly upper caste. So yeah, lovely. So they, so that's the problem. So there's not a lot of like lower caste representation in the CPIM. But the thing is that I tell people that I'm like, you do realize that's only one state in India, right? You do realize there's a whole other like rest of the country, and that
it's a pretty big.
yeah, and then I tell these people that Modi is a fascist. They're like, wait, what? He really is? And then I'm like, oh my God, you know nothing, do you? You just say America bad all day on Twitter, and you know absolutely nothing about the place I come from. And then like they confuse. They like, oh, you're from India. Are you from that one communist state? I'm like, no, I'm from way up here.
That's like unironic. That's unironically
Dude.
like actually fucking racist. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it is.
That
yeah.
is that is
I've had
racist
to,
as
yeah.
fuck. Unironically, it's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it's just again, part of it is again, American education is really bad, but then also there's this sort of gravitating. I've noticed in Western leftism, there's like this gravitating toward like American diabolism, and so it stunts. It sort of stunts this learning about other places, and so and yeah, I had to explain to that person that most of India is run by like fascists, and some places are more lib. Like in the south, there's a lot of resistance to Modi's fascism because he's very north centric in his rule. So he doesn't really like South India, and he wants to assimilate them to speak the North Indian languages and all that stuff. So whereas in Tamil Nadu they want to preserve Tamil as their language. In Karnataka they want to preserve Kannada and Tulu and all the languages they speak. So they don't want to speak. They don't want Hindi to become the dominant language, the northern language to become dominant. So,
Right, yeah.
again, that's just one of many examples. But yeah, that's like. But yeah, it's
like assimilationist shit on in terms in like America. That's nowhere near as prominent. Like, I mean, I talked about like sort of like black people becoming like more and more part of like the middle class at the very least. Like, you can make an argument that's like sort of like assimilationist, but like, I mean, not necessarily. Like, so long as like the fundamental like sort of racist like dynamics of America exist, like there's never going to be like true assimilation. Not necessarily, like not with like the sort of end goals for as to what like the white supremacists want in America. Like, it's they'll take the collaborators, which a lot of those people tend to be, for example, but it'll never truly happen. American culture will always be from black culture first and primarily.
Yeah. I mean, they contribute so much to like our modern, and of course, even just throughout time, they've contributed so much, like whether it's music or art or literature or science, just so much that they've contributed.
From the minority populations, especially in the U.S. Never dipshit white people. Those damn whites.
Oh boy, here we go.
Gonna have to be racist against my own skin color. It's hate to see it. Self-hating white.
Yeah, but yeah, this guy, this is something you never like. This is something you'll like. In America, if this happened, this would be national news. This would be like a George Floyd situation in America, right?
This
oh
would
my God,
catalyze people. It'd be crazy.
Oh yeah, there'd be protests everywhere if this happened. Like if a cop did this, or if just somebody did this to some marginalized person. So yeah, But yeah, this happens a lot. Like not just this, there's so many incidents of violence, of SA, of CSA, of kidnapping, of trafficking. There's all kinds of stuff going on against Adivasi and lower caste people. It's really, really horrific. And Modi's government is blasé about it. They don't care.
Yeah,
Even the U.S. government of all governments in the world has actually like expressed concern multiple times. Like Joe Biden particularly expressed concern multiple times about India's human rights record.
Jack,
Like his
you need to
administration
do
was
something.
actually
Jack, you need to
yeah.
do something about the rape, Jack. It's
Yeah.
not good. We're trying to build a relationship with you, Jack, because we need you as a
Yeah.
foil against China. But, this stuff.
True, that's the real intent. Yeah. But and then of course, I would hit back at Biden and say, hey, maybe what about Palestine? Yeah, something. Anyways. But anyways, let's continue.
An indigenous man because he can. Not to mention, there was a time not so long ago when the same privileged caste Hindus today disavowed and distanced themselves from even the name Hindu. They instead wanted to be called Aryas to establish a distance between them and the lowborns. Hindu nationalists, like other fascist movements, do not really have any consistent ideology. They are opportunity.
Well, of course they don't. So look at this. This is Modi. He's schmoozing with Muslim clerics and leaders to sort of try to build unity with Muslim voters, even though the majority of Muslim voters in India, like vast majority, will vote for his opposition, right? Obviously. Yeah. So that's on the left side, and then on the right side, you see Hindu extremist leaders threatening a violence and a boycott against Muslims, like promoting anti-Muslim conspiracy theories, and demonizing Rohingya people.
It's all about power in the end, obviously. Like that's what all these people care about.
Oh yeah, by the way, Modi was banned from, and you know why Modi was banned from entering the US, by the way, initially, until he became India's prime minister? So before, Modi was the governor or chief minister, what they call it over there, of Gujarat state. So he was a chief minister of a state, of his home state. And during that time, there was a really bad case of Hindutva nationalists terrorizing Muslim areas. And it caused massive riots all over the country. And he basically was the orchestrator, him and like the entire RSS, because Modi came up in the RSS. And by the way, the party he's in, the BJP, people say, like Modi will say, oh, I'm in the BJP. We have nothing to do with the RSS. The BJP was founded by the top brass of the RSS in 1980. So they came from this militant organization.
I believe Rohan gets into that as well. So
yeah.
It's like,
Trump
sure, you guys sure don't have anything to do with the RSS.
Yeah, like Trump saying, I love the blacks.
I love the black people who voted for me.
Yeah.
They're the best. We love them.
Yeah. Or the picture of him eating a tostada. I love Hispanics.
No, that's exactly. I love
I'll never.
that famous video of like, I love he's like, I got a fucking taco bowl in front of him.
I love Cinco de Mayo. It's a great holiday. We love the Mexican people and their holidays. It's very good and great. I have a delicious taco bowl in front of me. It's very good.
God.
And will get in bed with any lever of power just so they can advance their own ethno-nationalist agenda. Don't believe me? Allow me to provide an example. In India, Hindu nationalists' favorite enemies are Muslims, Christians, Dalits, Adivasis. But in the US, they love Christians. I mean, just look at the HAM.
Yeah, I mean, Hindutva nationalists obviously love Christians in the US because, again, lever of power, and it's the conservative wing of the US.
Homepage, or even how Vivek Ramaswamy deep throats white Christian nationalist boots to grasp at power.
Bootlicker.
Patel wrote a children's.
Oh no!
This fucking children's book is so fucking goofy, man. Oh, it's so funny.
The plot against the king, and literally it's him as freaking Gandalf. He's a wizard. He's free. Well, I don't want to put him and Gandalf in the same sentence. He doesn't deserve that. Yeah, we got a wizard here, and then Trump is the king, and I don't know who is that.
It's Hillary Clinton.
It's Hillary.
It's Hillary Clinton.
Why Hillary Clinton?
It's so funny because Russia. That was orchestrated all by Hillary.
By the way, this guy runs the FBI now. Amazing. I love it. You'll love to see it.
I love cacatocracies. It's the best.
With Trump as his white king, and he gets to act like his right-hand man and bag holder. I mean, this is straight up British colonialism era brown boot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That
Yeah,
book
Sam did read it.
might just become the
Sam and
alternative.
Emma read it.
Yeah,
The British
that's
saw
funny.
the Brahminical Jati Varna system or caste system in India as beneficial to aid in their project of capital extraction.
Yep.
Brahmin and Kshatriya rulers had already enslaved large swaths of the Indian population. There was already a permanent underclass working the paddy fields, working in morgues, literally making oil and copper and doing all the other essential things that make society run, that were conveniently also spiritually polluting, according to
I'll
Brahmin.
try to get through the
So
rest of this
convenient
video.
to designate all hard labor and essential work as impure, so you don't have to do it. So who best to shine your boot and also help you apply it to the necks of your own people? The ones who were already doing the oppressing, of course.
Yep.
Administrative roles in the British Raj were overwhelmingly held by privileged caste Indian folks, and this
Yeah,
continued well after
this we
Indian.
got into at the beginning, pretty much, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're the bourgeois.
Again, the image from what's this timestamp? 3628. So okay, I'm gonna go back. Right. So he just mentioned that like Brahmin, upper caste people would would work administrative roles under the British Raj, right, under their British masters. What is this? This is literally the same thing.
Yeah, it's
right?
like one for one. You could do the
God.
do the same meme. It's so funny. Like I've said this before. History doesn't tend to repeat itself.
It
likes to
rhymes.
Rhyme.
That rhymes very well.
Out of education through violence.
Okay.
Marginalized caste folks were continued to be kept out of education through violence and social ostracization. In return for administering the rest of the Indians for the British, privileged caste communities would receive monetary benefits like inam or tax-free lands. Inams and similar social subsidies used to be given to communities like the trans community in places like Maharashtra by rulers who wanted to subsidize living. So instead, the British took away social safety nets for the rest of society, but continued to allow Brahmins to live rent-free in their own agraharams.
Wow. Okay. So just let me break that down. So before the British, there were various empires in India. Like for example, in Maharashtra state, that's where Mumbai is. It's sort of central India, central Western India. There were Marathi kings who would actually give like housing to trans people and to other excuse me.
Yeah, it was social housing.
Disabled people. It was social. They had social. I mean, again, it's a feudal system. You're going to have in feudal systems, you have social housing. Obviously, it's not very good, and it's you're subservient to your leader. But yeah, it's some form of social housing. The British were even worse than them, worse than the feudal masters before them, because they they only gave those benefits to to their administrative workers who were upper caste. So like they imagine being worse than feudal lords of pre-British South Asian empires. Imagine being worse than them.
And that's probably why there's Brahmins now sort of all over the place, right? Mostly because I assume a lot of them got redistributed amongst the subcontinent because of the British needing them to be the ones who were doing the main administrative work, right, for the whole of the subcontinent, because they had the whole of the subcontinent conquered. There's it was like a slow process by the British East India Company over a couple centuries, but eventually, I think it was probably in the 1800s, they eventually had the whole of the subcontinent conquered.
Yeah, it took a while. It took about a century. And again, they had to do a lot of a lot of compromising and with existing rulers and royal families and all kinds of stuff.
And some of it got hostile. There was wars.
Very. Yeah, I mean, you probably heard about the Mysore rockets, right? Those are those famous. That was I don't know if you've ever heard of these things, but these were some of the first. These are some of the first iron-cased rockets that were ever used in battle in the world. They were developed in the 1700s by the Kingdom of Mysore, which is in southern India. Mysore is near, if you know where Bangalore is, the tech city of India down south. There's Bengaluru. Mysore is here. Mysore is like a historical city. It's really cool. I'd love to go one day. It's a beautiful place. But they developed these iron-cased rockets. And there was they used the king at the time, Hyder Ali, used the rockets effectively against the British East India Company during the 1780s and 1790s. So the British East India Company had to, lost to these guys. So you've probably seen this painting of the Mysore rockets, and those are the silly redcoats, running for their lives. Yeah. You've probably seen this.
Crazy.
If you haven't, there you go. Yeah, it's a famous painting. I forget who did that, but yeah. And this is how they used to light the rockets. Pretty insane. Yep.
They allowed the apartheid to continue because it benefited them. This
Mhm.
movement continued in education in 1817. English medium education, which was necessary to hold any post in the colonial government or institution, was introduced for Brahmin children in what is now
Yep. So English schools in British India were only for Brahmin children. The British enforced this.
Just like I mentioned earlier, more than I'm like the sort of theory that I had about the sort of like cultural osmosis of probably going on from these British schools, like helping to enforce the sort of like caste system through like European racism.
Yep. And this is the college they built, the Presidency College of. This is in Kolkata, right? This is over in Bengal. Yeah, this is over here. Yeah, where's Bangladesh? Bangladesh is over here. Yeah, sorry, it's not loading as far as. Yeah, there's Bangladesh, and yeah, Kolkata is right there. There it is. It's the Bangladesh.
known as Presidency College. It wouldn't be for another 100 years that marginalized caste folks would be able to access English education. This was mutually beneficial for the colonizers and the privileged castes, because privileged caste folks could play the role of the perfect middle manager. The entire role of Brahmanism is to impose untouchability. Untouchability is a byproduct of trying to create a permanent laborer class, where the laborers' children as well will forever be laborers. Like in the case of anti-miscegenation laws in the US as well, this directly affects women's bodies and choice, because women's bodies become the vessel to continue white supremacy, or in the case of India, brown supremacy. Without
It's literally the
untouchability
same
or the
thing
rules
that
around
Deleuze and Guattari talk about in their essay about the societies of control. Basically, basically like the idea that like it's like literally it's like how like capitalism essentially creates its own sort of caste system, like more or less.
Over time.
Yeah, or like basically if you're like born and you like have a particular like certain educational attainment, society has already predetermined where you're going to end up, which I found to be like really interesting. And also like I made like a lot of this comparisons within tech, like your access is very like limited and controlled depending on like what role and position that you have. Now obviously that's like done for like particular like security reasons or like whatever shit like that, but it's like the comparison's like 1-to-1. It's fascinating.
Yep. Yeah, and Story Girl, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. If anybody doesn't follow Story Girl, what are you doing? Follow her. She is a friend of ours from down under, from Australia. So if you want to know what's going on down there, she does flight sim, music production, game dev, all kinds of cool stuff on her stream. So very cool place to hang out. But I appreciate the lurk.
We love devs.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, what was the old Steve Ballmer dance? The developers. That's such a classic. But anyways, you know, the one where he's like sweating out of his collar and stuff. It's so fucking. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, Steve Ballmer is a billionaire. We don't like him.
Real?
Yeah. Yep.
maintaining untouchability, Brahmanism would not exist. This is why the privileged caste folks were perfect for the British to use against the native population. What about the Middle East? You might be wondering that there's no way Hindu nationalists are getting along with other Muslims, right, in the world, given how Muslims are treated in India. This is the new temple in Abu Dhabi, inaugurated by...
This is Abu Dhabi.
Covered by a lot of Hindu nationalist accounts as well. When thousands upon thousands of South Asians died in building that stadium for the World Cup.
That's cursed, isn't it? Like, look at this. You got a temple in Abu Dhabi, and
in Abu Dhabi, inaugurated by literal royal.
The sheikhs, the princes, whoever, like they inaugurated. Of course, Modi's there to be buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
With
like
the Gulf states and all, you know, it's like,
this
you know,
earlier, like lower caste people are the ones who get shipped out in order to build all this stuff. That's how you build the relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you this, like, hop on any, like, so from India, you get a lot of flights to the Middle East. Obviously, it's geographically close, right? So if you hop on a plane from Delhi to like Abu Dhabi or Dubai or Muscat or, you know, or Doha or Saudi, you'll see a lot of people on there who it's their first time flying, their first time leaving India, and they're going there to like work for 4 years and not be able to return to India for 4 years because the company will illegally hold their passport, kafala. So it's like yeah, they're not going to see their family and their friends for like 4 years or whatever. And yeah, you'll see a lot of that. Like yeah, if you just catch any flights out of India that go to the Middle East, like half the people on that plane are gonna be like going to work on the kafala system. Like it actually hits you in the chest when you see that. Like and I've seen it many times, but the first time I'm like, wait, like and my family explained to me, yeah, this is what happens here. I'm like, dude, that's so messed up, but
Crazy, yeah.
yeah.
Covered by a lot of Hindu nationalist accounts as well.
Mhm.
When thousands upon thousands of South Asians died in building that stadium for the World Cup,
Mhm.
did Hindu nationalists?
Yeah, look, all the workers who died, 6,500 people who died building that World Cup stadium in Doha. Look where they're from. Yeah.
Yep,
Those
all from the
organizations open their mouth?
subcontinent.
Nope. Or thousands of Indians dying right now in Saudi Arabia while building this weird wall.
Ah, yes, the wall.
I mentioned this earlier. We love the wall.
Hmm.
Mexico's gonna pay for it.
Yep. Yeah, well, this time, I mean, it's
This time
the Saudi.
The Indian subcontinent's gonna pay for it.
Literally, dude. Yeah, we're gonna pay for it with our elbow grease and our blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, unfortunately, and yeah, I mean, and of course we know this project is not going to take off. This is going to malfunction very like I don't think this is going to succeed. I think they're already
probably.
starting to build it, but it's like I don't think it's going to function as a city. This is even if it functioned as a city in a week, this would have like severe like malfunctions of like plumbing and electricity. Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Well, the Saudis, they can have their fun, okay?
Did Hindu national organizations open their mouths? Did the HAF put up another badly written article on their human rights page? Next to their articles about Hindu repression in Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Kashmir? Nope. You see, I say this because I want folks to understand that the leaders of or drivers of these political cults do not really have any consistent ideological backbone. They
Yep.
will say and do whatever they can to attain more power and wealth. A perfect example of this is the recent defense of Elon Musk's Sikh Heil by the ADL. The HAF and other privileged caste groups in the US can say all they want about how they don't, how they are against discrimination and so
I
on.
wonder
and blah,
what
blah,
their
blah.
I wonder
But
what
at
their
the end of the
defense
day-
would be of it because they probably agree with it. Like, oh, wait a minute.
Let's see.
he's based.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get.
Their actions and their wallets suggest that they lobbied against anti-caste bills, and they actively fund the oppression of other Indians back in India by supporting domestic terror groups like the VHP. These groups are mercenaries for hire, the brown shirts, basically, for local politicians who are linked to the BJP. I mentioned before that some of these guys hunt down other Indians in the north suspected of eating or selling cows. They plan these vigilante hunts in elaborate ways, organizing teams across highways like bandits, communicating using WhatsApp.
Literal,
This is crazy,
like,
right? Yeah.
Modern day highwaymen. It's like literally. I brought this up earlier. It's European feudalism all over again, but with like a modern
Yep.
South Asian twist. Is crazy, dude. Like literal
Yep.
highwaymen exist. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah, Skyrim.
Yep, this is-
Skyrim has a. It's all about the Skyrim bandits. Okay, you go to the bandit camp. There you go. You get your bounty from the Jarl. You got to clear out the bandits.
Yeah, but in this case, they all communicate using WhatsApp and Telegram. Yeah, amazing.
India's favorite disinformation channel. These groups are typically led by Brahmins and other privileged caste folks who have direct ties to politicians. Take this most recent case in Faridabad. And by the way, these cases of sectarian violence are depressing.
Yeah, this was up north too.
The talk
Yeah.
of every tea stand in India when things like it happen. Your local tea shops are the morning news for a lot of people. In September of 2020,
Yeah, read this headline. Like, imagine if this happened in America. Again, this would be national news, but in India, it's like whatever.
Yeah,
It's like
no one cares.
yeah, a 19-year-old was shot
Or
dead by
might
cow
get
vigilantes.
suppressed. Like it depends on how popular. It was.
Yeah,
Depends.
there's a lot of blackout suppression in Indian media as well. Yeah, but yeah, a 19-year-old was shot dead by cow vigilantes after a 30-kilometer car chase. They were chased for 30 kilometers. Five of them got arrested. Of course, they probably got bailed out because, you know, they get funded by the rich uncles with Teslas here. So the 19-year-old, a 12th grade student, was traveling with his friends when he was shot. He was allegedly targeted because the accused thought they were cattle smugglers. Like, what? This is so messed up, dude. North India is a mess. It is such like, I don't recommend anyone travel there unless you know a local and you stick with them. Like, I'm serious. I'm serious when I say this. Yeah. Beef Atlantis, true. Yeah, literally.
Happen. Your local tea shops are the
They definitely have a beef. Anyways.
for a lot of
Good
people.
one.
In September of 2024, a group of Hindu nationalist cow vigilantes, the Haryana Gau Seva Ayog, received word from one of their lookouts that
Look at these
a
uncles.
suspicious car, a Renault Duster to be precise, was transporting beef. The Hindu nationalists lay in wait on the Delhi-Agra National Highway.
The highwayman, here we go.
Suzuki
Literal
Swift.
highway.
They gave chase once they spotted the
get
Duster
him.
and opened fire. The chase went on for 40 kilometers, after which a bullet hit the shoulder of the person sitting in the passenger seat, causing the driver to slow down and come to a halt.
Yeah, but this isn't funny. Like, this is literally an act of like terrorism. Like, what we're talking about, Corey. Good to see you, Corey. Sorry if you just came in. Let me shout out my friend Corey. Actually, he streams a lot of Cyberpunk, Mass Effect, things like that. He's yeah, yeah, exactly.
Wake the
But
fuck
no,
up,
he's
samurai.
we got a city to burn.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, so we're talking about there's a video we're watching about fascism in South Asian communities. So we're talking about, like, in India, there are corrupt politicians who will hire. Oh, they had a beef. Yeah, okay, yeah. But you know what? Corey, you've probably heard about this being over in the UK. There's definitely like Hindutva nationalist groups over there. Obviously, Rishi Sunak is really, really sus. You know, the former prime minister, and Priti Patel, Suella Braverman. I can name them all. But like, yeah, all of them are really like are pretty sus with their ties to these organizations. But yeah, these are like vigilante groups, like literally highwaymen who will go after people for supposedly smuggling beef.
I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that vigilantism kind of bad. I don't know. It's a controversial take. I understand.
I agree.
But yeah, that's probably not a good thing that this is happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
It hit the shoulder of the person sitting in the passenger seat, causing the driver to slow down and come to a halt. One of the Hindu nationalists got out of the vehicle, walked up to the passenger seat, and pumped a bullet into the passenger's neck to finish the job.
Jesus,
The Hindu
dude.
nationalist got back into the car and fled. Later, it was revealed that the person who was killed was Aryan Mishra, a teenager who had just joined the Gulati family, the other passengers in the car, for dinner. Usually,
He was just going to a family friend's house for dinner.
Yep.
Okay, supposedly smuggling beef. What did he have? Beef biryani and a thing of beef biryani, to take to the potluck. Like, okay, yeah. So totally, he's smuggling
I
yeah.
keep going. It gets funnier. In like a
in
very
many cases like
perverse,
this,
crazy way.
both the Indian media and law enforcement tend to love turning the discussion into, oh well, did they actually have beef? And while the country is focusing on that conversation, the vigilantes are often let off the hook. But in this case, it was revealed that, like the other occupants in the car, Aryan Mishra was a Brahmin. When the four Hindu
That
nationalists
is the funniest part right there.
Oh my.
Intercaste shooting. I bet you if he knew that he was a fucking Brahmin, probably wouldn't have fucking shot his ass. Guaranteed. That is fucking crazy.
Yep.
Like, literally, it's the same fucking
Friendly
shit.
fire. Friendly
It's like,
fire.
Oh, fuck! I shot one of our own. Shit, fuck. Like, that's like the craziest part about it, because like this is how you know, like, it's not a sustainable fucking model or anything. Like, when people talk about, relatively speaking, like the sort of like exclusionary policies.
I'm gonna link to this video in chat, by the way.
And groups that like fascists are constantly will go after. Eventually, it's gonna like get to a point where it's just like they're just gonna start constantly fighting amongst themselves. It's like, wow, we got rid of all the minority populations. What about the people with blue eyes? What about the people with a blonde hair or some shit? Well, obviously those are gonna be like the last to go. It's like, I don't know, like there's a particular racial clan with these like white people, and we're gonna have to get rid of those guys. It's never fucking enough, which is why like these like sort of like fascist movements, these like that operate primarily only on exclusion. It's not sustainable in the long term, because eventually
they turn on each other.
They keep turning inward, and it just collapses in of itself.
Yeah, in fact, you saw this. I don't know if Rohan will get into this, but the last Indian election, which was last year, it was a few months before the U.S. election. The last Indian election, it's like the transvestigation of cis women, right? Sorry, I was saying that but when Modi barely won, because he barely won the election, like his party went from majority to plurality in the parliament. His coalition did actually became a plurality. His own party is a minority now in the parliament. They're not a plurality anymore. And then his coalition, his right wing coalition, is a plurality with all the regional parties. So and Modi didn't he barely won, right? So a lot of Hindutva nationalists were like, "Hey, maybe this Modi guy isn't one of us." Like they were starting to turn on him. Like it's kind of like, yeah, it's
crazy.
wild, dude. Yeah, there was like a lot of like resentment toward Modi from these far right nationalists. Like they thought he wasn't enough. Yeah.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, so that's how ridiculous all this stuff gets, and that's how cooked it is. And yeah, in India, these groups, these, and people say, well, in America, that would never happen. I'm like, well, first of all, it has happened. We had white nationalist mobs, for well over a couple centuries.
Not that long ago, guys. Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not that long ago.
Yeah, they still exist, and and they're only going to get once you get these kind of people in structures of power, running, either they become governors or they become the president, as we have now. These groups get much more funding, they get enabled, and the authorities look the other way, and they just get away with this stuff. So don't be surprised if this starts happening in America. Like, do not be surprised. I don't want to be alarmist, but.
Like there's I mean, like literally, I don't know who, like I think it was Demon Mama who used to say like, hey, literally, I felt like less safe in like particular areas because you can just tell, especially if you're like a minority. It's just like, yeah, it's you're getting like particular looks, like people look at you and think about you in like certain ways, and you can feel that. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Texas before, and like even in Austin, you get weird looks. I'm like, okay, first of all, guys, this is Austin. There's a lot of Indians. Like major cities in Texas are full of people from other countries. Like a lot of immigrants live in Texas. But it's like this idea that but you still get weird looks over there. It's like, oh, God, come on. Like 6th Street in Austin, like you would think that's like a super diverse liberal place, whatever. Now you still get weird looks. Fascism has a tendency to be a result of colonial capitalism. I mean, that's India, again, good example, or all of South Asia, and other power nexuses not having an avenue to expand outwards. So then they just, they turn inward. They start to, they start to shrink on themselves and exclude, become exclusionary. Yep.
The classic.
Yep. So, anyways, yeah.
Involved in the shooting were apprehended. Anil Kaushik, the shooter, said that he regretted his crime because he had killed a Brahmin, and that
That's so crazy, dude.
he was also a Brahmin. He said that he had only opened fire because he was convinced that the passenger was a Muslim. This is the truth.
Oh my God, this story is just
reactionaryism, don't we? We love the reactionary thinking, just taking over.
Oh my God,
letting you to just shoot someone randomly.
Wow. Like this would be like some like white nationalist guy reporting me to ICE for being Mexican. Like literally, like this is or like no. This actually no. This would be like if some
if like when Nick Fuentes went after like one of those like stupid Twitter accounts, or I don't remember what the fucking name of the Twitter account is, but it's like a confirmed like Mexican Nazi, and that dude gets like reported to ICE or some shit.
Oh my God! Yeah, that would be like that.
Hold on, I was one of you. What the fuck? It's
yeah,
they don't like you, little bro. They don't like you at all.
No. Anyways,
face of Hindu nationalism, and this is what that Tesla driving uncle sending money to organizations like the HSS and HAF or VHP or whoever is funding. This is what many young Indians are supporting when they give a pass to Modi and his actions. This is about power, who has it, and who is willing to use it. Just like how Hanumankind was willing to change his lyrics and dance for a bunch of uninterested right-wing uncles in the US and hug an actual fascist.
Oh yeah, this is so. I don't know if you all heard that song. It was like a hit last year.
Yeah, I also saw Rohan mention this, and I was just like, I'm gonna have to ask Boy Meets Mini about this one because I have no idea.
Yeah, this guy, we liked him for a second, and then he turned.
Just to get the bag, many privileged Indians are willing to step on other Indians to keep their places in the social ladder. And of course, this is not just an Indian thing.
Yep. Yeah, Snoop Dogg,
The
SMH.
current failing world order and the reality, the invisible reality that is capitalism and neoliberalism, we are all taught to step on each other's necks to get ahead. We are fed this lie that we are all millionaires in waiting. And we are taught that
The American dream.
it's okay to look the other way when your fellow human being is being oppressed. What does caste have to do with whiteness in America? In 1923, a brown man named Bhagat Singh Thind, not to be confused with Bhagat Singh the anarchist, confronted the racial prerequisites of attaining US citizenship. Thind and his lawyer Mannix argued that according to the prevalent racial science of the time, Thind would be considered a full-blooded Indian, a high-caste Hindu, and a member of the constructed mythical Aryan race.
That's so
Oh, boy.
fucking goofy, dude.
Oh my god.
It's like, all right, we pulled out. Okay, we got the pigment sheets, got our calipers. All right, we're going to do racial arguments to say like, actually, it's justified for him to be a citizen because think about it. He's a true Aryan. He's a true Hindu who came from the Aryan regions of the north. Now think about it, guys. I don't know. He seems like he's the real deal, guys.
Yeah, and yeah, yeah.
We love European race science, folks. We love.
Oh my god. Yeah, and I wonder, they should probably realize that when I walk in the room, yeah, I'm actually from that part of India as well. So I probably shouldn't pull that card though. They wouldn't.
I don't think they'd believe you, Boy Meets Mini, because you're too much of a minority. It's like I don't know. I don't think you fit the bill that well.
No, I didn't cover that tonight, Anzo. We've just been looking at this video because it's long. We're almost there. 10 minutes. 10 minutes of the video left.
Now remember, this was a field of study only created to justify the Europeans.
We're gonna get to that video another time.
Of the food chain, while dominating the countries they extracted resources from through violence. Instead of reasoning that bloodshed, violence, and skullduggery was the reason for this success, it was convenient for them to reason that they were just naturally superior. And it was good, actually, that they were able to bring modernity and civilization to such savage parts of the world, which many still believe today. They didn't have this reasoning because in India...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people still believe today that India is some, like, backwater country that, they think that it's some, like, undeveloped, like, country of lawlessness, and I'm like, okay, sure, our cities are polluted, but it's a
there's parts of it like you can say like I don't know if like a lot of parts of it have like basic plumbing or whatever, but like that's like the sort of like idea that the British had like when they try to colonize the place. Literally the same attitude. It's like yeah, sure. But I've made the exact same argument about Russia. It's just like I unironically make the meme about like Russia's like 3 developed cities and the rest is like a shithole because like think about it this way.
Oh yeah.
All the other fucking wealth from the country is extracted. Well, it's like St. Petersburg, Moscow, and I don't know some other city. Definitely not out in the east. It'd be in the west.
No, it would be probably, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Novosibirsk, one of these, Yekaterinburg, I don't know where. It doesn't matter.
It's probably actually 2 cities. It's literally 2 cities and the rest is like a shithole with like barely developed plumbing and electricity. Because like that's unironically like an actual fact. A lot of parts of Russia do not have basic plumbing. It's crazy.
Yep.
And it's all because of like the shock therapy stuff, and the Soviet Union didn't really do much about that either, because again, like it was its own colonial empire, just all about maintenance of a particular hierarchy. Like, sure, there was a lot of stuff that the Soviet Union improved upon with like the sort of like brutalist like large housing architectures and projects they took all over the country, but it's just
but that wasn't like it was limited. Like what those kind of housing projects, they were like in particular places.
Yeah, they didn't go beyond the Ural Mountains. I guarantee you, they did not. And a lot of the like steppe peoples, unironically, like indigenous steppe peoples, like they still live in like shacks and like igloos.
That's
Like
sad.
without plumbing. It's crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, even Ukraine has done a much better job of like developing their country. I mean, especially in the past decade, like they've made huge strides forward. And of course, yeah, now they're being invaded. You know, it sucks. Yeah, because it was turning into a really nice country, like probably one of the best countries in Eastern Europe, if not the best. So
I do not think that the Russians have universe. I'm pretty sure they don't.
no, no, they don't have. They did probably under the Soviet Union, but I think with the rise of the oligarchs in the 90s, I think that all got dismantled. So I don't know what they mean by universal healthcare. Like, is it privatized, or I'd have to look at how their health system works.
Russian healthcare system.
Yeah, yeah, we're going off on a tangent now with Russia,
yeah,
but yeah. But anyways, back to the subcontinent. Okay, so yeah, so Rohan is saying that like, and he's correct. It's like this whole people pulling up the ladder, pulling the ladder out from under them after they attain success in America, whatever, and then they, that reinforces their casteism, that reinforces their sense of superiority, their, racism, all that kind of stuff. So it happens, unfortunately, in my diaspora. This happens a lot. I still see it today, and not just in older people. Like I keep complaining about the uncles and the aunties. Like I complain about them, but the young people are just as cooked, kind of. Like especially I've noticed, even in my own generation of millennials, but I particularly noticed Gen Z, Gen Alpha being cringe about this too. Like like I've seen some like of the younger like up and coming in South Asian Americans here, and it's like they are like they're kind of they're almost turning into like they look at everything as like a meme, basically, like a lot of Zoomers do. Like everything is a meme, and so they think, oh, Vivek rapping or whatever is a meme, and it's kind of funny and cringe. It does. Yeah, and they don't realize the danger that he is, right? So
yeah, exactly. Also, real quick, they do have free healthcare, but they only spend about 5.5% of their annual GDP, when the average is about 10%. So it's pretty.
So it's really cut.
Yeah, it's really
cut down.
Threadbare because of, well, they mostly care about their military-industrial complex in Russia
and their oligarchs. Yep, which is pretty much their military-industrial complex. Anyways, look at how much of the boot Vivek throats. Oh, it's you probably it's down there. Yeah, there we go.
World, which many still believe today. They had this reasoning because in India, the British leaned into this idea of having some sort of ancient relation to the privileged caste folks as well. This common ancestry of being Aryan, even though this was fantasy. The founders of the Hindutva movement and
these people, yes, Savarkar. Now we're gonna get Savarkar is this fool on the right. You have Hegdewar, who is this guy in the middle, and then Golwalkar came later in like the 60s and 70s. So yeah,
of the modern day RSS embraced this idea fully, and even worked with the British to quash any semblance of any anti-colonial action. The RSS at the time was exclusively made up of privileged caste folks who supported the British. Until they found
they supported the British.
Whoa, I wonder why. Because they wanted to maintain their bourgeois jobs. Whoa, crazy. People who are fighting for their class interests, fighting in favor of those things? Oh my god, what a shock. It's almost like a funny beard man wrote about this or something. I don't know his name. He's like a funny little guy.
Yeah, funny little guy from Germany. Yeah, we never heard of him. But not that funny little guy from Austria. We're talking about Karl Marx, of course, the good guy.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who Karl Marx is.
Karl Marx, yeah, never heard of him. But yeah, you know what's funny too? So you know how the RSS supported the British. A lot of Hindutva nationalists say, well, we don't want English to be the main language of India. We want Sanskrit and Hindi to be the main languages of India. And I'm like, come on, dude. You guys supported the British. Just get out of here with this whole we don't want English to be the main language of India. Get out of here.
Yeah, dude. Like you want to push whatever
you're posing.
Yeah, assimilationist bullshit on everyone else.
Yeah, this is
on the south, the part of the continent. It's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, the Dravidian language speaking places. Yeah, yeah, they're not gonna like that. In fact, currently there is like a sort of a there is like a very strong debate happening in the country now, like between like all the different state leaders. Like, like the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, he is on like a he's been on a tear lately, like criticizing the national government for trying to like force and impose, North Indian language like Hindi, forcing Hindi on the South, which the South wants to preserve their languages that they've spoken for like 10,000 plus years. So yeah, this stuff goes way back. But yeah, basically like they want to preserve their languages and then continue like they'll allow Hindi, they'll allow people, they're not going to outlaw Hindi. But it's not going to be the dominant language. It's going to be the regional language,
like
and
their
culture.
It's like cope and see, dude. Like it's fine. You can speak Hindi. It's like all the stupid morons who are talking about like the outlawing of like the Russian language within Ukraine, and it's just like,
oh, that is the dumbest thing ever, dude.
It was the stupidest like because like you just look at the 2019 bill. It's just like it basically says like there's no problem with speaking Russian. We just prefer you to speak Ukrainian, and it was about like only talking about like nurses and teachers, and that was it.
Yeah, it was like it was like okay, what?
Russian, you speak Russian, like whatever. Hilarious.
Yeah, it's people are bilingual there. Like, what's the big deal? Anyways.
Full decades later to recruit poor marginalized folks who they could use as a muscle to swell their ranks. The current prime minister and the face of Hindu nationalism is a product of that Brahmin-led RSS. The RSS and Hindu nationalists love using identity politics.
Mm-hmm.
That Modi is from an OBC
wonder why.
background is often
so OBC. So Modi is from what's called like a middle caste, basically. He's not actually a Brahmin. Modi is from like a middle caste, essentially, if like to simplify it for the average person. Like I'm not gonna explain like the whole like structure of it and everything, but yeah, he is from a middle caste, but he joined the RSS when he was young, and he rose with up in the ranks and organized and did all kinds of stuff with them, and then eventually he became one of their top people, and of course that's why he became the chief minister of Gujarat. That's why he rose up he was already high ranking when the BJP was formed in 1980. He was already up there. He was the right hand man of the BJP for years, from when he was young. So this guy was like Mr. BJP, like from the beginning. And despite not being from a Brahmin upper caste background, he rose up through it and has sort of assimilated into it, right? You talk about the assimilationism, right? This is like Modi is like the peak example. This is the peak example of it.
To direct away from the inherently casteist nature of Hindu nationalism.
Yeah.
MS Golwalkar, the Sarsang Chalak, the Grand Dragon, the chief of the RSS.
The Grand Dragon of the RSS. It's like the Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Wizard.
Literally the same thing. The Grand Dragon.
Did they unironically use those as ranks within the RSS?
Yes.
That's fucking hilarious. They're also LARPy fucking losers who want to pretend.
Look at this quote too. This is from Golwalkar.
Yeah, like he's a Nazi. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, he wants to purge.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a Nazi. Like, oh, crazy. Who would have thought?
Ain't no way.
And one of the most influential Hindu nationalists wrote, to keep up the purity of the race and its culture, Germany shocked the world by her purging the country of the Semitic race.
I mean, they certainly shocked the world, but
it's pretty shocking. Yeah, and guess what happened to them?
The Jews. Race pride at its highest has been manifest here. Germany has shown how well nigh impossible it is for races and cultures having differences going to the root to be assimilated into one united whole. A good lesson for us in Hindustan to learn and profit by.
That's so funny
but
that he calls it
wait. Yeah. I mean, that's what it was called in Urdu for a long time. That's what like Mughal emperors called the region. They call it Hindustan, right? Place of Hindus, Hindustan. But again, that's Persian. But what I'm saying is like, okay, he's saying that it's impossible to assimilate people, but the whole goal of the RSS is to assimilate all people of the subcontinent as Hindus.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is their ideology is inconsistent.
Yeah, whereas with the Germans, what they wanted to do was essentially conquer the entire world and make room, get rid of all the undesirables through the whatever means necessary. Obviously,
Yeah.
it ends up being violent in reality through Lebensraum for Aryan Germans, right? Like,
Yeah.
the similarities are pretty much the same. I don't know if like Hitler would have had like designs for like the Indian subcontinent or something, but he probably would have betrayed all his allies eventually. Like, there's no way he wouldn't, because again, eventually
That's what
like,
fascists do.
that's what fascists do. They always turn inward. It always happens.
Yep.
To one united whole. A good lesson for us in Hindustan to learn and profit by. During the 60s and 70s, Golwalkar set his sights beyond the borders of India to spread the Hindutva ideology under the cover of being some sort of cultural organization merely existing to appreciate Indian culture. He ordered
Literal
one of
like
his RSS.
United Daughters of the Confederacy shit.
Mhm.
Same shit.
Yeah, or what do you see, today at universities? Chabad, right? Chabad, the sort of it like now. I'm not going to categorize all of them like that. Like there are a lot of Jewish organizations and Jewish-led orgs that are like really good and anti-Zionist and not into all that, but a lot of them are, unfortunately. And so like a lot of Chabad orgs at like universities are unfortunately, mixed in with Zionism. And so that's where like a lot of recruitment for the IOF happens, for example, right? From the US. There's a lot of Americans who serve in the IOF. It's like a shocking number, like tens of thousands, if not more. And the main avenue, like kind of like we have ROTC for our own military here in the US, right? ROTC is sort of the collegiate recruitment. The Chabad is basically the ROTC for the IDF. It's a very similar thing. But anyways, yeah, and this is a similar, they have taken a similar approach here. Golwalkar and all these people who started bringing Hindutva nationalism out to the diaspora who was living worldwide. This is how they did it. They did it through cultural organizations, through like your city or town might have like an India society or whatever, and it's run by all these like rich Indian business people, not knocking them obviously, but I'm just saying they're like super rich, they have the money, and of course they have connections to these organizations, and so it promotes Indian culture and Hindu culture. And so once you start seeing that, you're like, wait a minute, I thought the subcontinent was way more diverse than that, and you guys had multiple religions, and not everybody's vegetarian.
Yeah, the problem is that,
yeah, Rahm Emanuel, his dad did too.
Yeah, the problem is like we're talking about ignorant Americans here who barely could. I would be surprised if some of them could even like point to India on a map, Like
yeah, and meanwhile,
and so they're susceptible to fucking shit like this because again they don't know, they're not properly educated on this.
Hang on, where's the
Very cool.
Is it on GeoGuessr sites? Yeah. Okay. Y'all ready? I'm gonna do this live, okay? We're gonna see how quick I can do this. Okay, I'm supposedly not a real Indian, according to some people, because I immigrated out of the country. We're gonna refresh, and we're gonna refresh and see how quick I can do this. Indian states. Okay, Sikkim, Kerala, Jharkhand is that one. Meghalaya is that one. Jammu Kashmir is that one. Bihar. Lakshadweep is... Where are you? You are over here. Assam, you're over here. Chhattisgarh is here. Andhra Pradesh is there. Madhya Pradesh is there. Delhi is there. Oh, no, that's Chandigarh. Oh, I got one wrong. Darn it. I'm not a real Indian.
Not a real Indian. You fucked up.
No! There we go. Anam Nicobar is over here. That's a hard one to get. They're so close. So, Ladakh is the farther north. Himachal is here. Karnataka is there. Arunachal is way over here by China and Tibet. Rajasthan is here. Tripura is by Bangladesh. Hey, home state, Uttar Pradesh. Nice. Odisha is here. Mizoram is there. Manipur is next to it. Puducherry is down here. And Telangana is there. I'm getting these. Gujarat, Punjab, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Haryana, Goa, right there, and Tamil Nadu. 1:19. I got one wrong. I got Delhi and Chandigarh mixed up.
You're not a real Indian, boy meets me. I'm sorry to say you got one wrong. Not
Hey, but I did it on the spot. I have done 100% of this quiz
by the way,
in
I
1:09.
By the way, I can't fucking do that with Romanian states. I don't know that fucking shit.
Yeah. And I've lived in America since I was 4. I've lived here like the vast majority of my life, and I still like blasted it. I've done 100% like a minute and 10 seconds, so I don't know. I'm just a little tired tonight. Whatever. Excuses. Skill issues.
Skill issue.
Yeah.
Tisk.
lackeys Mahesh Mehta to plant the
So
seeds
these are the guys who
of
brought it to
in the
America.
United States. And in 1970, the VHP America was born. The American wing of that same domestic terror organization I mentioned earlier, together with the American version of the RSS, the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh.
I don't want to keep you too long, by the way.
Across the US and
It's getting late.
a lot of privileged caste members.
That's all good.
They funded and supported the rise of the BJP in India. In the 80s, when the Ram Janmabhoomi movement was in full swing,
Oh yeah, this is about the temple.
movement that led
Oh,
to the
one
demolition
that-
of the
yeah,
Babri Masjid
the
and
one that
deaths
got
of
burned
thousands
down
of people
and
along the way.
replaced with the Hindu
The
temple, right?
Yeah, so the mosque was demolished in 1992. They just built the temple like the last few years it took to build the temple. But
Yeah.
they've had that site reserved since like 92
Yeah,
or
that's
since 1990
surprising.
rather.
Yeah, I wonder why. Curious.
Yeah. And that mosque has been there since like the 1400s. It was an old mosque. Like it was like a pilgrimage site for Muslims in the region. So like yeah, that mosque has been there since like the time of Mughals basically. So yeah, it's old.
American
It was
Sangh
old.
offered
Yeah.
political, moral, and financial support to the cause.
Yep.
Many even traveled
A lot of American money went to
aid
this.
in the overt oppression of minorities. After the Gujarat riots, the pogrom carried out by Modi, which led to the deaths of thousands of Indian Muslims, the Americans
We're like Lord Ram's monkey army. What the heck? Okay, so this is like yeah. So this is again comes out of like the old like Hindu like epics and stuff of like of like battles between the gods and
Yeah, shit like that.
Ram had an army of Ram had an army of like monkey mercenaries. Hinduism is really like creative. I will give them that. And it's yeah. I mean, like all religions have these like sort of have this
The
lore
army
in them.
of
It's
monkeys. We got all the monkeys.
but then these people LARP. These people LARP and try to like they think they're like they LARP as these like mythical like warriors and they think they're like saving a lost civilization or something. It's so funny.
It's very soy. Very.
Yeah,
soy.
I just don't like people who appropriate religion like this. It's just this is like offensive to Hindus too. Like this is really offensive to do to Hindus if you think about it. Yeah.
True.
RSS monkeys.
and its affiliates
Ugh.
mobilized to protect Modi's image and cover up talk of it by attacking critics of Hindu nationalism in the West. This
Yep.
effort to preserve privileged caste Hindus
Oh yeah, they modeled themselves after APAC. Ain't no way. Forged alliances around
crazy.
Islamophobic bigotry. Ain't no way.
position of power in
Crazy.
the
Ain't no way.
India mirrors the efforts of white supremacist political parties in the US to preserve their own positions in the American hierarchy. When American conservatives construct a moral panic around critical race theory, American Hindu nationalists construct a panic around critical caste theory. America will point the finger at black folks for being inherently criminal, and the American Sangh will join privileged caste Indians in India to do the same to marginalized caste folks.
Yeah.
They mirror each other
It's
in their
all the
objective to
same
dominate
bullshit.
minorities.
It's crazy.
Yep. Same strategies. Same strategies, but in a different power structures, of course. But like, yeah, there's a lot of mirror, and this is why I talk about again. This is the whole reason. Myself and of course, people like Arun and Rohan and Finn Peanut, who's a friend of ours. Actually, Finn Peanut lives in Uttar Pradesh. I won't say exactly where to keep him safe, but he lives there. Like, and he sees, he
Sees the stark differences and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and he reports on what's locally going on there. So he's a good guy to watch. I'll shout him out, by the way. But yeah, Finn Peanut lives over there. So like, the reason we report on this stuff is we want people around the world to like see there's a mirror between what's happening half a world away and what's happening here at home. There's a lot of parallels. And I think what happens a lot of times when you discuss American politics with people, unfortunately, it's like talking to a brick wall because those people say, well, I disagree with you. And, the debate goes nowhere. But then when you talk about a place far away, then it's like you can actually start to bridge build. You can actually start to find, you can actually start
Right,
to
you
build
can-
some understanding.
Commonality and stuff like
Yeah.
because it doesn't directly affect them, right? That's the
Yep.
I mentioned that earlier before, and what is it, the video that I did on with the Wolfenstein 2 on deck covering
Yes.
the Dextergy video. As soon as you point up the mirror, people are going to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute, that's actually not me." you point to something that's like far away or like that happened a long time ago, there's a detachment from there. So you
Exactly.
can kind of like make a lot of parallels there. It's an effective rhetorical tactic.
Yep.
Minorities and step on women's rights while using scripture. They will deny LGBTQ rights, even though in the case of some Hindu scriptures, there is precedence for gender fluidity and a long history of trans existence. In
Yeah,
America,
like
you have white
literally,
supremacist
isn't it
people-
in India? I don't remember, but it's like the thing with like the is it like a gem on their foreheads? That's like a legalized, like recognized third gender, right? Is that in
Yeah,
India?
so that's what's called the hijra people, yeah. And so the thing is though, I find that term a little bit and also if you talk to trans people in India, they'll say that term is a little bit like limiting of a term because yeah, they have some protections from the government. They're given some housing. They're given gender affirming care and stuff like that. They're obviously provided that. But Hijra historically and also spiritually, in terms of the religion, they were seen as sort of like they were given like these ceremonial roles. They weren't like they were sort of like limited to that, and they were not like integrated into wider society. They were sort of like segregated off and only performed ceremonial roles and stuff like that. Again, it's feudalism, right? It's good old feudalism.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the notion of hijra is like it's like a product of feudalism, and it puts trans and non-binary and gender fluid people in a box. That's what I don't like about it. So yeah, I mean it's something, and the acknowledging Hinduism or some forms of Hinduism do acknowledge, and there's historical precedent for acceptance of gender fluidity and trans and being transgender, but like it was done under feudalism, so it had problems.
It's like it's
Yeah.
sort of like the idea of why like the term transvestite, for example, is not really used anymore, right? It's like the antiquated term, way of thinking, right? That's like an example, right? Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I would put it in that category of
gotcha.
like it's not a slur, but it's like an outdated term that is it can be used, it's an outdated term that like it has its roots in in feudal systems, and of course like putting those people in like a special like
like little box.
a special
it's
role.
like, it's like they do their own little like song and dance or whatever religious ceremony, yada yada, and they're recognized. Don't worry about it. Kind of a deal. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, that's why. But yeah, I mean still one step better than the British, who wanted to eradicate them.
Whoa!
In India,
Crazy.
you have Brahminical patriarchy, all to construct and preserve a permanent underclass while the few at the top get richer. You see, many folks lean into the model minority myth because they already believe that just by being born into a social group, you have an inherent capability for good or bad, an inherent
Same
biological
shit with white
component
supremacy,
that's
it's all the
responsible
same.
Yep.
for success and competence. This is rooted within Brahmanism and the concept of Varna. This permits a cruel and fantastical rationalization that if you were just born a Brahmin, you were born that because of your efforts and hard work in your past life, because you did good in a previous life.
The
And they believe that if you were
funniest thing about this is like old like 1800s like eugenics like European white supremacists didn't necessarily do the exact like they didn't have like spiritual sort of like justifications. It was just
This does.
It was pure just ethnicity. It's like you're white, therefore you are superior inherently, right? Like that's the craziest thing. There's like also spiritual justifications being done here as well. That's why I find it so particular. It's like so interesting and wild. It's like holy shit, dude! Like these guys are like they're like taking it a step further.
Yeah, it is like once you dig into it, you're like, wow, this is even like more. This is
more
like
cursed than I thought it was.
Yeah, it is more extreme and more cursed than you thought it was. And yeah, Story Girl, yes, you're right. Yeah, the British reduced Hijra. I should have mentioned that they reduced them to sex workers, and of course, badly abused them. And like they probably did like really horrific things to them in the process. British British generals and I guess who else? Like,
What, you're telling me
and
that the white
yeah.
colonizers like to rape the slave girls? Say it ain't so. Crazy.
Yep.
Whoa. They
Yep.
did that? Whoa. Who would have thought?
Yep.
Crazy.
They did that. Yeah, the viceroys and all those people with all their fancy titles and their red coats and yeah, and funny
Yes,
mustaches. That's what they were doing.
Bring me one of your finest Indian stock. Or some shit.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Born as a marginalized caste person, you were born that way because of a punishment for bad deeds done in your past life. How convenient. And according to scripture, the only way for marginalized folks to redeem themselves for crimes they have not committed is by toiling away on the fields and working for the benefit of the Brahmin. It is this hateful assurance that the marginalized will not live to see their liberation. This is how you create a permanent underclass through scripture. Verse 9, passage 334 and 335 of the Manusmriti say,
Yeah, the Manusmriti, that's the text that like defines sort of the caste system and the social order.
for the Shudra, the highest duty conducive to his best welfare is to attend upon such Brahmana householders as are learned in the Vedas and famous. If
It's
he
so
is pure,
crazy.
So literally,
Literally, scripture to justify like indentured servitude. It's fucking
Mhm.
wild. Like
Mhm.
that was that like that wasn't really like done within the Bible unless you had like some crazy interpretation.
I mean,
Like you can like
there are-
interpret certain verses in like those ways, probably, but it's just like it's like more tenuous at best, right?
I mean, the Bible does condone slavery,
Yeah.
to in some verses, but again, it's a
that's the-
hyperlinked text, and
yeah, that's the
yeah.
thing is
Yeah.
in terms of like condoning like
Mm.
shit like that, it's of like people of other religions, right? Unless they're like
Mm.
forced to convert.
Yeah, this is like generation to generation. This oppression gets passed down. Like it's like, okay, you're gonna do this, your kids are gonna do this, their kids are gonna do it, their kids are gonna do it. Like it just keeps passing down because of that sort of reincarnation cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
dependent upon his superiors, of gentle speech, free from pride, and always dependent upon the Brahmana, he attains a higher caste.
So, and of course, the catch 22 with all of this is if someone is a Shudra, right, the second lowest, category of caste, and they serve a Brahmin, right, serve them in some way or another as like an indentured servant, they somehow attain a higher caste, but they're always stuck in that. It's really messed up. Like it's this like really messed up catch 22 where you can never get out of your caste.
Yeah. that's crazy.
Manusmriti verse 10, 1 to 3 states that the distinctive duty of the Shudra is to serve the Brahmin. Everything else that he does is fruitless for him. Chapter 12 of the Brahminical text, Gautama Dharma Sutra, states that a Shudra listens in
Yeah, so see what they're saying. See the like and the way that and you remember, right? Brahmins don't want anyone else touching their stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to like in order for Shudra people to serve the Brahmin, they cannot be on their property. So like they can do services or whatever for them, but they say
That's
like
so-
it's hands off.
That's
It's
so fucking weird, dude. It's just like,
incredibly
okay, You want
privileged.
us to be like indentured
Yeah.
servants, like clean the house or like whatever. And it's like, how the fuck am
Yeah.
I gonna do that if I can't step in your house? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, see this. So this person. I'm gonna assume they them. I'm a seamstress and I also sell cloth. Let's see.
and famous.
We worked on the farms and
He is
served
pure,
those
dependent upon his superior,
who sit and pray in temples, the priests. So they served the
of
priests.
gentle speech, free from pride, and always dependent upon the Brahmana.
After we cleaned the grain, they ate their fill.
He attains
The
a higher
craziest part
caste.
about this is like
Manusmriti-
this like image with like the grate on top.
I know,
Literally
it's
the
prison.
Same shit in Israel, right?
Mhm.
I think like it's one. I don't remember which community it is in the West Bank, but like literally the same shit. And like people, like the Israelis were like throw trash on like the Palestinians that were like living under there. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think that's
Same-
Sheikh Jarrah. That's Sheikh
Sheikh
Jarrah.
Jarrah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think. Yeah. But like this is kind of like that. But yeah, look at this. But once their granaries are full, they'd
Verse
say,
10, 1 to 3 states that
"Get out of here, you're yeah.
the distinctive duty of the Shudra is to serve the Brahmin. Everything else that he
Don't step inside our
does
house."
is fruitless for him. Chapter 12 of the Brahminical text,
Once the crop was safely in their
Dharma
houses,
Dharma Sutra, states that if a
they wouldn't let us even touch their utensils.
Shudra listens intentionally to the Vedas, his ears shall be filled with molten tin or lac.
Jeez,
If he
dude.
recites the Vedas, his tongue shall be cut out. If he remembers them, his body shall be split into.
Those who abuse them were the same temple priests,
Manusmriti verse 8
but now they say things have changed. You know, modern India, things have changed. Not really.
Yeah, dude.
271 says, if a Shudra mentions the name and caste of any twice born man with scorn, a burning iron nail 10 inches long shall be thrust in.
We're craftsmen here. I'm 45 years old.
This is biological essentialism through and through.
Years since the
This is why
British.
many Indian Americans buy into the idea of the model minority myth, because to them it is not a myth. It is because of the belief that yes, people have inherent qualities received at birth, gifts received at birth. Vivek Ramaswamy has ties to the VHPA. He's recently given
We
keynote.
love
God.
biological essential. I mean, it's the same shit, like, you know, that, like, a lot of, like, the second wave feminists do with trans people all the fucking time. All the, like, biological determinism and shit like that. All the
Yep.
essentialism. Same shit. You can
Second
make
wave
it one to
feminism.
one. Yep. The second wave
Yep.
feminists. It's all 1-to-1. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, look at this. The VHPA doesn't shy away from this connection with its Indian counterpart, a memo, because VHPA is the American, chapter.
American
So,
chapter,
yeah, a memo on its mentions. It clings to the same values and ideals held by the VHP, including the notion that Muslims are quote barbaric invaders of India.
I
So,
wonder how much they push for, like, the Iraq War and stuff. I can only imagine.
oh,
right?
they're hawks. Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2022, Ramaswamy was one of the keynote speakers for an online gala organized by Hindu Pact and Advocacy Institute of the VHPA. Yep, he's all into it. He's all in.
Speeches at their conference.
Ultimate bootlicker.
He also has ties to the HSS,
True.
the equivalent of the RSS of India. Is the same with Kashyap Patel.
Caught.
Openly cheered for the building
Caught.
of the Ram temple in Ayodhya on the remains of the Babri Masjid.
Yeah, he literally said there is no evidence. Yeah, look at this. So this is something he said. He claims that the mosque that was there wasn't supposed to. The mosque that was destroyed in 1992 wasn't supposed to be there because he believes it's the birthplace of the god Ram, which you can't really prove that.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
yeah.
It's literally, like, it's something that's impossible to prove. Like, yeah, God,
And then
God was born there. It's like, yeah, is it?
Yeah, and then he claimed that there was a Hindu temple there for Ram in 1500 that was toppled, and they have been trying to get it back for 500 years. It's like, okay, you have no proof of the temple being there. There's no evidence, just older mosques, says archaeologist. Yeah, so.
Yep.
Sorry, brace up block. The funny part of this is that in Maharashtra, which is central India, that's the part I think where some of your family is from in Maharashtra. Yeah, there's Mumbai. There's the city of Mumbai. So yeah, Maharashtra is a central Indian state. In Maharashtra, the Brahmins can't even do the thing about the ears to Shudras because their numbers are large. The Marathas are considered a Shudra, but they have power in Maharashtra. That's interesting. So Marathis are considered Shudra, so they're considered like an OBC caste. That's interesting. I didn't. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with Maharashtra because I'm not from that region of India. I like I said, I'm from up north, and up north we're very like the caste system there is very clear cut, and it's brutal, unfortunately. But I didn't know that there was that distinction in Maharashtra. But again, there's also an ethnic.
Yeah, I wonder if these like distinctions are built out of sort of necessity, right? Because like maybe like a lot of like sort of middle caste people are considered a higher like upper caste because of like sort of like population like demographics, just like sheer number kind of.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and also there was a bit, yeah. So and also there were Marathi kings and stuff like that. So they had power. So it's like structures of power, who demographics, things like that influenced it also. So like per region, like there are like some distinctions as far as caste dynamics, but still there's the segregation is like a common thing across all regions. Like the segregation of caste. It's so like ingrained.
Right.
And of course, yeah, gosh, but I can't with that stare, dude.
It's literal uncanny valley shit. He's just like, bro, stop trying to stare into my soul. There's nothing there but the void. Like, what the fuck? Like, bro, You're trying to stare into my soul? Get the hell out. You don't have the Sharingan, dude. You can't read my mind. Get the hell out.
True.
I'm
Little
the one with the
40K
superior.
there.
No, that's not. That's a Naruto reference.
That's not 40K.
No.
Sorry, Naruto. Yeah. All right. I don't watch anime. Clearly, I'm not that cringe.
Yeah.
But I am cringe.
Cringe. Cringe.
Yeah. 1,000 yard. Yeah. This is the million-yard stare. Yeah.
Bro is literally a
Doing
deer
so-
in the headlights.
I know. And he runs the FBI, and yet he believes. Yeah, in revisionist history. Amazing.
He has shown his support for the violence against marginalized folks in India. Tulsi Gabbard, who isn't
Yay.
Oh, we've been
has
mentioning
not
her.
been shy of
Look at that. She actually went to India to put a garland around his neck. Oh my
her
god.
work with the RSS
I bet
either.
Hawaiians
And this
are pretty
person
happy
is
about
going to
that.
be your director of intelligence. This is what Hindu nationalism is built on. It is inherently anti-black. And
What is this? Oh, this guy. Okay. On April 9th of 2015, Ram Madhav, a BJP spokesperson and earlier a longtime RSS executive, so this guy is like Mr. RSS as well, delivered gifts to Tulsi Gabbard from Modi on her wedding day. Dude.
Listen, Tulsi loves. There's a reason why Tulsi loves bombing them terrorists. Okay. Yeah.
Dude. Yep.
That's right, brother. That's right.
Yeah, literally on her wedding day. And yeah, so by the way, this guy, Ram Madhav, he is like one of the main progenitors of the world conservatism. I'm gonna send you this stuff later, but there's like a few videos where he's given speeches. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, and he's spoken at conferences here in the US. Look at this. Yeah, Ram Madhav is the president of the India Foundation. Yeah, he was previously the national general secretary of the BJP, and he's a regular contributor to platforms like the Indian Express. Yeah, his most recent book is The Indian Reality: Changing Narratives, Interesting Perceptions. Oh boy. Yeah,
boy.
India's vision for world conservatism. Yeah, this was the speech. Yeah, I'll send this to you one day. It is so unhinged. All right, we're almost there.
patriarchal capitalist systems and therefore inherently is anti-progressive. Organizations like the Hindu American Foundation will leave out links between Nazism and the founders of Hindu nationalism.
I wonder why.
You won't find it on their write-ups whitewashing and airbrushing Hindu nationalism either. This is done to make it more palatable to Americans and the Indian Americans they are trying to recruit.
Yep.
Hindu nationalists will even go so low as to co-opt the victimhood of other histories like the systemic persecution of Jewish folks.
Yeah,
It's
they
so
literally.
funny. Literally, it's the same shit that Zionists do. It's 1-to-1. It's hilarious.
Mhm.
It's so
And
fucking
shamelessly
goofy.
conflate that with critics of Hindutva. They say that criticism of systems of Brahmanism is just like anti-Semitism. Watch out for these creators who say this, because I can guarantee you they are Hindu nationalists.
Yeah, so it's a little like this parallel between, Brahminical temple-centric systems, oppression through organized militaries to maintain a permanent underclass. It's like South African apartheid. It is the same model, the same same
Another page
patterns.
they've
Yep.
lifted off of Zionist propaganda, weaponizing victimhood while systemically oppressing other minorities directly or indirectly through propaganda. They do this only because they want to appeal to the average American and play the victim. I think these folks forget that they live in America, where one man has literally bought his seat as president. Not to mention, they never make the comparison.
Wait, he's doing.
South African
He's an
apartheid.
autist. What do you mean? He's just doing an awkward gesture. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's just
That's
a little
what-
special boy. He's a specialist of special boys.
Yeah. The Hindu America Foundation would say that if they haven't already.
Yeah,
Where a
ADL.
white minority-
Now, like ADL light or some shit, but different.
Mhm.
subjugated black natives for generations through violence, which is why Indian American conservatives prefer to use anti-Semitism as a comparison to appeal to liberal American sensibilities and their understanding of
Ah, the
shallow
classic.
victimhood. It is strategic
Yep, they fool the libs.
Fool the
and
fucking
calculated and
libs.
must be noted. When Thind made a claim to whiteness in front of the US court in the 20s, he was making a claim to power through lineage and birthright. WEI, it's white equity and inclusion.
I love you, Rohan. That's great.
So good. I'm stealing that one. Yeah, I'm taking that one. Yoink, mine now.
His right to power at the feet of the dominator. During the case, his lawyer laid claim to whiteness by regurgitating popular theories of ancient Aryans dominating indigenous barbarians, as they put it. By doing so, Thind perpetuated anti blackness and upheld two systems of power: Brahminical and white supremacy. Just like they did during the time of the British Raj, Hindu nationalists will support white supremacist structures and any would be monarchs at the top of any hierarchy. They will lie through their teeth and change sides strategically to keep their place at the master's feet. And they will willingly hold the whip because the whip was promised to them at birth. Their masters will point out the targets and they will use that whip as they have done in the past.
Bootlicker. He's licking that boot.
But yeah, Story Girl.
Wait, did he just slap ass? What did he do? Okay, just on the back. Okay. He would though. Let's admit it.
Yeah, here's the thing with that, Story Girl. I think, like, honestly, from what we know about Gandhi, Gandhi probably would not have a problem with it.
No, Gandhi. Gandhi
would wanna-
believed in nationalism.
Like he was like Hindutva, right? Like,
Yes.
more or less,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
like
he was
proto-
very agreeable to it.
Yeah, like a proto version of it, right? Or at the very least,
Yeah.
right?
Like the only credit I would give to Gandhi is the ability to form like mass like peaceful movements, and that was like the only thing he was really good at. And you also have to remember, like when he was a lawyer in South Africa, in apartheid in colonial South Africa, he was anti-black. He was really anti-black, even though he like Gandhi was really anti-black, like against black South Africans. Of course, it's because he believed in like this like Aryan supremacy stuff that the RSS believed in. But then, of course, the RSS were the ones who ended up, taking his life in 1947. Funny how that works when fascists turn on each other. Yeah, so the only good thing Gandhi really did was like put a mass movement together. But I mean, so did so many other people. So did Bhagat Singh. So did Ambedkar. So did so many revolutionary figures. Chandrasekhar Azad from my home state of Uttar Pradesh. That guy was cool. I at some point we got to talk about Chandrasekhar Azad. That guy was cool. So one of the things he did, just sort of a just a little appreciate. First of all, look at that guy's mustache. Holy shit! Yeah, this guy was chatting before it was cool. Yeah, this guy was chatting before it was cool.
Like literal, like fucking. He died at like 24. God, who's like, with like literal like. Was it Huey Newton? Who was like the first of the Black Panthers to get assassinated by the FBI? Was it Huey Newton? I don't remember exactly.
I don't know if it was Huey, but one of them, right?
I'm thinking of someone else entirely, dude.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of someone else entirely. But literally, same shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, what was the story of him on a train? Yeah, so he so there was a train robbery in 1925, okay? It was a train robbery that took place actually near my home city of Lucknow. This happened like in 1925 toward my home city. And so what happened was these leftists, these Indian leftists who were fighting for independence, they did a train robbery, and basically the reason they did it is because this organization was carrying out revolutionary activities against the British Empire, right? So
so can't be seen what you're browsing at the moment right now.
Oh, sorry, did I stop sharing?
No. I'm talking about your chat. Maybe you just change the window.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I was on my camera. Sorry. But yeah, so this guy, this Chandrasekhar Azad, one thing that he did, which was just really, really sneaky. So what they did, he was with a group of revolutionaries, and they pulled the emergency chain to stop the train, and then the other revolutionaries overpowered the guard, like who was on the train. It is believed that they looted that specific train because it was carrying the money bags, taxes, which were being transferred to the British government treasury. They looted only these bags, so no personal property, and escaped to Lucknow. So they literally robbed, it's
like Robin Hood shit, basically, right?
Yeah, they Robin Hooded the British out of their tax revenue. That's how base this guy was. Like, he was robbing trains full of British tax revenue.
Before
Amazing.
Stalin was doing it. Before Stalin made it cool. Okay.
We did it first.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. This guy was very based. Yeah, and he was like a more of a libertarian socialist and stuff. So there were
Beast.
yeah, Hindustan Socialist Republican Army. So there was yeah. So obviously Bhagat Singh was part of it. Like a lot of these figures are part of it. And so yeah, Gandhi is nothing in front of these people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, that's all I wanted to cover. Did you have any last thoughts or anything? I know
Yeah,
we yapped a lot tonight,
I
and it's probably very
love.
late for you.
I do love having a good conclusion. I mean, overall, like, yeah, this one's gonna be a doozy, for sure. But well, lots to talk about, lots to cover. I sat my white ass down and I listened. I mean, obviously,
I appreciate it, man.
yeah, me doing my spicy white duties. That's what I do. That's me. It's Well, it's sort of like the idea, like these sort of analogous and sort of thoughts and positions that a lot of like different fascist organizations, we can talk about AIPAC, we can talk about the Zionists, you can talk about like other like far right movements. The playbook is basically the same. Evangelicals, yada yada. It's all the same, all of it. That's the thing, right? Like that's like the sort of whole point. Like it's a coalescence, a bringing together of like fascist movements in order to push one thing in particular. But we all know, like, eventually what the inevitable ideological conclusion of this is. It's always going to be turned back in on itself, and they're going to eventually attack each other. That's just how it is with these movements.
Yeah, and thankfully that's starting to happen in India now. Like Modi has really wrecked the economy. Youth unemployment is very high. It's one of the highest. Like for India, you would think, okay, their economy is growing. They're whatever. Like you would think that they would have good youth unemployment. No, and that's the reason a lot of Indians try to come to the U.S. or they try to cross the border in Mexico. That's the reason. Like if you go to the Mexican border today, it's not just people from Guatemala and Colombia and Honduras who are coming here. It's people from India.
It's a lot of
Afghanistan,
people, right? Like tons.
Yeah,
of people.
You got people from Myanmar, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. You got people from Afghanistan, Syria, Iran. Like so many people are stuck there.
Yeah, exactly.
So unfortunately,
we love the American asylum system, but yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, that's the sort of conclusion. Whoa, fascists always collaborate with one another to try to gain power, but inevitably, the arc of history will show them that if they try to, and they do it, they're going to turn in on themselves, and it's all going to become a shit show overall in the end. That's really all there is to it, right?
Yep. Anyways, I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's very late for you over on the East Coast or out in Eastern time. But yeah, it was great having you, Daharumba. Everybody, by the way, give him the follow. He plays a lot of Pokemon ROM hacks. If you're into that, knows a lot about 40K Magic the Gathering. So if you're into any of that stuff,
I'm a big nerd. What can I say?
Big nerd, bigger than me. Many people are saying this. Thank you. Bahut shukriya. Thank you. And also give him the follow. He also does some commentary. Like I said, I think you've done a really good job on your coverage of like Gamergate and anti-wokeness and sort of how it like is a foil of second wave feminism. There's a lot of interesting stuff you cover. So check out his YouTube channel as well. I think let me see if I still have your YouTube link.
True.
I do. There is Daharumba's YouTube link. I will also post that in the YouTube chat.
It's YouTube. That's my YouTube link. We love YouTube.
Yeah.
It's our favorite.
He does. Yeah.
I'll do like random off the cuff shit or like literally I had a segment talking about like the death of subjectivity because like
that was good.
I had a shower brain blast thought. I'm like hold on, wait a minute. I'm just
you were spitting
big brain mode right here. Holy shit. And,
you were spitting.
Sometimes I just do shit like that.
Yep. But anyways, have a good night. I'll let you get your rest. You yapped a lot tonight. Rest your voice, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
I get to love to rest my voice. I will probably be covering one other little segment because oh boy, that CR shit is
Yeah, I need to. Uh,
Well, I mean,
yep.
the voting on the bill is tomorrow, so and
Boy, let's see.
Cuck Schumer might be capitulating. Let's go,
Amen.
boys!
Like he always does. Anyways, by the way, Daharumba's little avatar here is Lotad. So if you see Lotad in your Pokemon game,
I love.
it's Tahoe.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the low
Lotad.
Ted. I'm low Ted.
Literally
stuck in the
Lotad.
tree. I'm literally him, actually. I'm just like stuck in the
Mhm.
tree, just kind of like sitting there, just
Yep.
thinking, just pondering, just being there. I'm the low Ted.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. Have a good night. Thank you so much, Daharumba. And yeah, we'll see you around.
Yeah, yeah. You have a good one, boy meets mini, as always.
You too. You too.
Peace.
Have a good one. All right. Okay.
All right. Appreciate Boy Meets Mini as always. Obviously, let me do like a nice, neater little bow, I suppose. But yeah, you know, same points always with standing and whatnot. We can obviously sort of acknowledge all of the similarities and the sameness between all of these different desperate fascist movements. They generally all have the exact same goals and conclusions they inevitably reach, all about the maintenance of the system of control of hierarchy. That is the first order principle that I've been constantly talking about with conservatives. That's all that they care about. And they all do that through any means necessary, you know, like serving particular like classes and other ways. Overall, great video as always. There by Rohan. I'm really bad with names. I always forget that shit, dude. Great video overall. Very, very good. We love we love pointing out the inconsistencies and of everything in fascism. We love doing that, folks. And I mean, it's made pretty clear and evident. We all know this. Like, the sort of ideas between like the maintenance of like racial hierarchy and like it's crazy how like the Hindutva nationalists like they seem to take it to like another level. It's ridiculous. Like it's literal like feudalism in play in effect, and like the sort of like maintenance of religious hierarchy, like spiritual hierarchy, cultural hierarchy. It really goes to like another level in comparison to that of like, you know, white Western European society. It's fascinating, horrible, but like fascinating in its own way. So as always, repeated thanks to Boy Meets Mini. We love based anti-Hindutva activists as always. Pointing out all these like inconsistencies and stuff. Yep, we certainly do like that.